if it's for you. Once my body gets to swaying, promise you won't be complaining. And I'll be saying, yeah, can I dance for you? Would that be cool? Can I dance for you? Would that be cool? Yeah. Beautiful girls are coming, funny girls are real sweet. I don't say these words often, loving you has left me weak. But let's take a walk down a brick road, click your heels and we'll be there. I want you, do you want me to? Once you hear the rhythm playing, promise you won't be complaining. I'll be here for it if it's for you. Once my body gets to swaying, promise you won't be complaining. And I'll be saying, yeah, yeah. Can I dance for you? Would that be cool? Can I dance for you? Would that be cool? Oh, every heart in the world is looking for a partner. Many fish in the sea, but there's one I'm chasing after. I'm not afraid to tell the world who I choose. Baby, it's you. Oh, can I dance for you? Hey, would that be cool? Can I dance for you? Would that be cool? I don't get like this, but I kinda miss your attention. Did I mention? Can I dance for you? You, would that be cool?
NathanIvy.com. Mr. Ivy know the show must go on. And for Cincinnati, man, I put on. Tunes made another flame beat for me to cook on. Raised dogs, close this, yeah, too strong. Team AI, chop it up at the chop shop. Top notch with the king flow, the hot shot. Cop squats in, listen to the real. Jumping like hopscotch, nobody harder than, oh, no, think not. Not only citywide, but nationwide. Superlative, keep it locked like them Haitian guys. Put the truth in the airwaves, we talk about it. Brand new like the templates, let's be about it. Who got the info by the AM? John be the rapper, got them jamming when they play him. Staying in my lane, they ain't gotta okay him. Who the host with the scoop? Yeah, they gon' say him. Ivy, so superlative like a bag of Drippos. Show you where the bricks at, Cincinnati Reds at. One time where my people at. Team NI, where my people at. It's the 513, yeah, you know the flow. What's the word, Nate? Let them know the show. One time where my people at. Team NI, where my people at.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Where my people at? Nathan Ivy with you. Another beautiful week is almost behind us. It's officially the weekend, a beautiful Friday. And I hope wherever you may be, I hope y'all find you in a good place. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back to the last honest place in Cincinnati media. Good morning to you. And are you ready to talk? Let's get into it. Good morning. Good morning. Hope you're doing well. Welcome back. Beautiful day. Take a second to like and in particular share today's show, fam. When you share the show, more people see it. It's quite simple. And if you're on Facebook, I've just been putting the show in different places throughout the week. I'm just doing testing. You always should be testing what you're doing. to see what works the most effective. So you might get notifications from Send Digital Media. You might get it from my personal page. You might get it from different places. I just want to see where people at, how people react, and we'll proceed further. On today's show, among other things, I want to talk about a comment that Lil Nas made on The Breakfast Club most recently. He was asked a question about whether he feels a certain way about kids watching what he does and parents, and he said, F your kids. Basically, I'm not a role model. And he has a point. We'll get to that in a second. Now, coming up at 8:30 a.m., we've got a guest, Brian Garry. I told you folks yesterday I'd reach out to him because I'm not sure what happened with the NAACP. Hey, what's up, Carmelita? Thank you. Appreciate you. Everybody, appreciate you. Come on in. I reached out to Brian. He responded sometime yesterday afternoon. He's going to come on the show today. He's scheduled to. Now, he was also scheduled to go to the NAACP forum, but that's the way I put it that way. He's scheduled to give us a call, Zoom style or phone call at 8:30 a.m. approximately. And then again at 9 a.m., I reached back out to my guest. She's a journalist with WVXU. Her name is Joelene Almedarez, and she's going to talk about how an affordable apartment complex in Cincinnati ended up displacing people. Displacement and things like that seems to be a hot conversation in Cincinnati, and I want to be at ground zero. Good morning to you. I'm broadcasting live from a secret location somewhere in the Cincinnati area. This is actually my home studio / office, and this is where I've been doing my thing since COVID. Much more to come afterward, but this is where I am right now. The show has already started, so we can take that down. Good morning to you. If you want to share your thoughts, one word: open your mind before you open your mouth. That's all I ask, or else a tisk with a flick of the wrist, and we'll just move on. And I forgot to mention this during the show yesterday, but yesterday was my birthday, so I'm another year around the sun. I am the most superlative Virgo on planet Earth, bar none. Beyonce she's a close second. I'll give Bay that. She's a close second. I ain't gonna say she's way, way, way behind me or nothing like that. She's a close second. She does her thing. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. What's up, Don? Good morning to you. There are a lot of ways to capture this show every single morning. If you're an audio person, you can check us out on Spreaker. Just do a search for Nathan Ivey. If you are, you can also go to the TuneIn Network. The TuneIn Network, if you don't know, it's a free audio platform, and you can listen to a lot of your favorite podcasts and even some of your favorite radio stations. You can listen to it there. You can also listen to the Nathan Ivey Show live there as well. And I did that because you might already be there. I want to be where the people are. All right. I want to meet you where you are. If you're more into video, you can check us out on YouTube, Nathan Ivey, and Nathan Ivey. You can subscribe and get a push notification directly to your phone whenever we go live, as the majority of people do. Ashley writes, happy belated Earth Day. You know, I slipped my mind, quite honestly. I was so caught up in the conversation. And, you know, again, once you get past 40 birthdays, it's like, do they mean something? They mean something, but they don't mean something. You know, at the same time, I already got everything. I was waiting. See, you're wrong for that. You're wrong to do that now. See, the wifey. Anyway, so once you get past 40 birthdays, it's like, you know, it don't really mean that much. Like, I got friends that get all on their feelings about getting older. I think this shit is crazy to me. I don't really get it. Like I said, I used to always say this. I still feel the same way. Tupac never got to be, to 40s. He never got to be 45. He never got to be 50. He never got to be 55. He never got to be 60 or 70. So many people that get cut down early in life, and life is so precious that I enjoy all of it. So I don't know. And then some people use birthdays as milestones. Like, they look back and think, am I in a different place this year than I was last year? I do that every day. So the birthday, it comes and goes. Went out with the family last night. We had a family dinner, and, around the people that love me the most and are closest to me, we had a really good time. Got a lot of well wishers. I posted something on Instagram. I think I put something on Facebook yesterday as well. And got a lot of well wishes. Thanks to all the happy birthday wishes and everything. I really appreciate it. What I can tell you is that I'm better than ever. I'm stronger than I've ever been. My mind is sharper than it's ever been. My body is stronger than it's ever been. And my mental is sharper than it's ever been. So I'm excited about what comes next in life. And that's it. Good morning to you. 513-873-7134. If you would like to share your thoughts, I want to hear them. I want to hear what's on your mind this morning. And I want to open the door for your input as well. You may have some dope ideas about conversation pieces. I'm open to it. I can't see everything. I can't hear everything. I can't be everywhere. All right. So I appreciate you in advance. Again, 513-873-7134. If you like to share your thoughts this morning, I love to hear it. Want to give you a heads up about a couple things before we get too deep in the show. This is my civic duty. I do it because it needs to be done. And kind of piggybacking off what the good folks over at the Cincinnati NAACP are doing. But the last day to register to vote is October the 4th, 2021. If you are not currently registered or you need to update your name or address, you must submit your voter registration form to your local board of elections no later than 9 p.m. on October the 4th. If you register or update your address online, the deadline is 11:59 p.m. on October the 4th. You can also register to vote online at the Ohio Secretary of State website. It's Ohio SOS Secretary of State.gov. Okay, you might be one of them online people. Great, I'm an online person. Early voting opens October the 5th. See how that works? The very next day. Early voting begins October the 5th through November the 1st. I think early voting should be into September personally, but that's just me. It is what it is. All vote by mail ballots that were requested are mailed October the 6th. And you've got 3 options to vote in the upcoming election, November. Early in person at your local board of elections. Here in Hamilton County, here locally, that'll be over in Norwood at 4700 Smith Road. If you need to, you can give them a call at 632-7000. The other way that you can vote in the election is by absentee by mail. And of course, the third way is at your assigned polling location on election day, which is November the 2nd. All right. Don't sit this out. It means too much. You got city council, which we know it means everything. I mean, we have gotten so accustomed to the usual names that all these folks are going to be term limited out. They're all gone. All the people that we love to blame everything on and bellyache about and moan about, they're going to be gone soon. It's going to be all new everything in there. Potentially, mostly. 9 city council seats. Now, people think different ways about how you should vote. Some people say you should be strategic and don't vote for 9. You should vote for 6. Now, why would they say 6? They say 6 because that means that it's veto proof. The mayor have veto power unless you get 6 council persons on whatever the particular issue is they're voting on. They can override the mayor. So some people like to be strategic. Some people like to do 5. Whatever it is, I'm just putting it out there. You've got school board. We now understand we talk about life and death with the school board. Speaking of which, have you been noticing what's happening? Mount Healthy schools, they're going back to virtual for 2 weeks. Ooh. Virtual? They're going back? Yeah, we're going in the wrong direction with COVID because humans are worse than COVID. These damn humans are in the way of us beating the pandemic. Anybody have children that attend Mount Healthy schools? You know what I'm talking about. I read it this morning. I'm reading that the Kroger grocery store chain, they are now asking their employees to start wearing masks. I'm pissed because they never should have stopped wearing masks in the first place. It's just too easy. Let's not even talk about the vaccine. Wearing a mask is just too easy. Everybody trying to mollify and appease humans. Do what's best for public safety, period. If the humans don't like it, the humans don't like it. It is what it is. Hit me with a like and a share, fam, so people know that we're on. Hit me with a like and a share so people know that we're on this morning. It means everything. Appreciate you. Yeah, we're going in the wrong direction, family. The wrong direction. But it is what it is. It is what it is. But now we know that the school board makes decisions upon life and death. If you are a Black person and you are raising Black children in CPS, you in particular should be paying attention to the school board because CPS has a problem with black students. Keep it on 100 with you. Ain't no sense in missing no words. It's the truth. There's conversations about SROs. Should they be in the schools? I know for a fact that there are varying opinions among the candidates about that. There's still a question mark about why CPS is not producing high-functioning, high-performing black graduates. We got a lot of questions. Why are the black kids receiving harsher discipline? A lot of questions. We ain't even touched the way the school board dealt with COVID and is dealing with COVID. Did you know that the school board doesn't even have a plan right now as it relates to whether they should go to virtual or not, no matter what happens with the pandemic? Is that acceptable to you? We just found that out this week with the NAACP Prince Hall Masons forum. They ain't got no plan. How do you not have a plan? This is laughable. And mayor. Now, it may not be the sexiest of race. You got David Mann and Avtab Pureval, but I'll tell you what, it matters who the mayor of Cincinnati is. It matters. Who you going to choose? Who is it? Will it be David Mann? Will it be Avtab Pureval? It's up to you. You know what I'm saying? I'll say to black folks, we could have a significant impact in this race if we actually were a part of voting. We keep saying it every single year. But really what it comes down to is that the candidates or other organizations need to provide, they need to give people a reason to come out to vote. Because a lot of folks are like, it don't matter. David Mann, Avtab, Pureval, it's all the same. I don't think it's the same. It don't matter with the school board, this one or that one, the red one or the black one. It makes no difference. Look, Harris one there. It makes no difference. It does make a difference. City council, they're going to do what they want to do anyway. Well, yes and no, but there are some differences. There are some differences. So I'll just say it again. I mean, to my folks out there, the last day to register to vote is October the 4th, 2021. If you are not currently registered or you need to update your name or address, you must submit your voter registration form to your local board of elections. Joe Mallory has been telling folks, and I trust what he's saying, that they're ready to purge you from the voter rolls if you don't vote in this election. If you've been missing elections, they're going to purge your ass. Now you got to go through all these processes to get back on. Why? Because there's forces in the state of Ohio and Hamilton County that want to make it more difficult for some people to vote. I'll say it when I put up again. Early voting opens October 5th through November the 1st. I'm a big fan of early voting. I once camped outside all night long downtown back in the day when the Hamilton County Board of Elections was downtown. I spent the whole night in a lawn chair with a blanket over me just to help to raise awareness with a lot of really good folks to raise awareness about early voting. I'm a big fan of early voting. Get out there and do it early. Again, you got 3 options. Now I'm talking with the choppers. The choppers are very smart, intelligent people. These are not just voters. These are people that influence other people to vote. But you got 3 options. Early in-person voting at your local board of elections, which is over in Norwood. Absentee by mail, or the day of election, which is November the 2nd. There's people out there that focus more on the Bengals than early voting and their rights. I think it's to our detriment. Good morning to you. 513-873-7134. Let me talk about the Cookout. Let me talk about Big Brother. And I know a lot of people like, man, I don't watch these damn reality shows. Okay, great. I get it. You know, you watch what you watch. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with that. But Big Brother is a reality series. I don't know what season on, like season 20 or something like that, 15. I'm not really sure. But basically, it's a last man standing type of deal. They take, 20 people. They sequester them in a house throughout the entire summer. Every room has microphones and cameras in it. And they have to compete in a series of games. Now, depending on how well they're doing the games, it gives them certain advantages. And every single week, 1 or 2 people are voted out of the house guests. They leave and they whittle all the way down to the last person. And the last person wins like $750,000. Now, I'm a reality television person. I used to watch a lot of it, but I got tired of it because black folks, the black men like me, was the first to always go. I got sick of watching that ish. I don't want to watch that. They never had a black contestant. Now, you might be a winner. Now, you might be like, Nate, this ain't the most important thing. I'll get you on that one. But wait for my point there. This year, for the first time ever, I think the people over it is at CBS. They put the largest portion of black folks ever in the House. What did the black folks do? They formed an alliance, and there's alliances that formed every single season called the Cookout. Apropos, right? Because black folks, we always talk about the cookout and who can come or whatever. And they pulled off reality show history for the first time ever. All black final, 5, 6, something like that. So no matter what happens, you're going to have a black winner of the Cookout. Now you be like, Nate, I don't care about that. Cool. But here's my question. There's a lesson in this. There's a lesson in this. I think it's a very obvious lesson that I want to make sure that people don't miss. And the lesson is that when people coalesce, when black people come together, they can get ish done. That's what the lesson is. I put something on Facebook yesterday. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I mean, what's the lesson? How can we put something like that in place here in Cincinnati or wherever you might be? You might be in Middletown or Columbus or Cleveland or Dayton or Atlanta or Georgia or Nevada or California or New Jersey, where I know a lot of my listeners, where I know I have listeners at, right? How do we take what they're doing as an example and put it in place here? And I think it's possible. Now, you might not get everybody to be on board because you know there's always a damn Judas. It's always a Judas. You know that. But you telling me you can't create a silo? You can't pull some people, like-minded individuals together for a greater cause? I say BS. I think it's possible. Hell, there's people in this city that's doing it. You know what I'm saying? It's people all over the country that's doing it. I just want to remind people. I mean, I try to extrapolate good things when things are happening, try to take something from it. Anybody watching that still? Want to get your thoughts on it. 513-873-7134. It is a beautiful Friday. Absolutely beautiful. I'm looking forward to the weekend. I just asked the Wikey, what we doing for fun this weekend? What we doing? She has some ideas. I'm like, oh, okay, we doing all of this. Cool, sis. Let's make it happen. Karma writes, no Facebook today. No, I'm on Facebook. There's people on here on Facebook right now. I'm on Facebook. Yep. Most deaf. I'm just testing. So usually I would go straight from the Sin Digital Media page. I'm going straight from my personal page. I'm just trying to see where people are and where people respond. So yeah, we're definitely on. Most definitely. Good morning to you. Let me jump inside the chop shop and say what's up to the incredible folks that hold me down. Ashley writes, good morning, Nathan and the Choppers. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you. Pamela writes, good morning, Nathan and the Choppers. Now, you know, on Fridays, I relax just a little bit. We might bring in some more, I don't know, different type of conversations. If you're listening for the first time, this is a daily show. But I don't just talk about politics. I talk about everything. I'm a people watcher at my core. So I talk about people, politics, and pleasure, because that's what I'm into. I think that's what most people are into. Some people are strictly into politics. I'm into a lot of different things. So the show's a reflection of that. Ray writes, good risings all. Happy belated Earth Day. Thank you so much. Ashley writes, happy belated birthday. Thank you so much. Sharp writes, TGIF Nate and the Choppers. Sharp writes, happy birthday. Absolutely. Ray writes, this is when folks dig in on we're not a monolith, while others are being overly strategic. The stakes are too high to be playing checkers. 50 Afghans due to touchdown in Cincy. The Catholics organizations that sponsoring will ensure they get new biz. I'm sure a few in the black community. Okay, they might. You saw the Catholic organizations are going to make sure they get new biz, huh? Damn, is that how it works? I need to hook up with the Catholics then. What's up? Brandy writes, greetings, happy Friday. Anybody get a chance to see that WCPO news segment with Jeff Pastor? Anybody get a chance to see that? Yeah, man. Yeah. Then I saw that Jeff Pastor posted something on Facebook like, hey, I'm still here, y'all. If you don't know, Jeff Pastor was a member of Cincinnati City Council, Black Republican. He stepped down. He accepted a suspension because he was hit with several corruption-related charges. The trial date is set for next year. As a matter of fact, it's going to be back-to-back trials with him and also PG Sittenfield, which we'll talk about in a second. But last night, Jeff Pastor, along with his lawyer, where they did an interview, a sit-down interview. Now, I'm gonna reach out to the lawyer because I want to know if they're gonna talk with black media. You know what I'm saying? I mean, every time something like this happen, they run to majority media, and I get it. They got larger audiences and all that kind of stuff, but we want to hear about this too. So I'll reach out right after the show. But Jeff Pastor didn't open his mouth. He didn't say a word. His lawyer did all the talking. His lawyer's name is Ben Dusing, and they sat down with Paula Christian. And my only problem with this, and I said the same thing about Tamaya Denard is that, and of course she's serving 18 months right now, is that when they're running, they hit up black media. They hit up these kind of shows. When something happens, it's like we don't exist. I don't get that, but whatever. It is whatever. And so Ben Dusing sat down, and he didn't really say a whole lot. And I asked myself after watching the news clip, like, why would he do this? And the only reason I can come up with is to potentially impact a jury. Ben Dusing was asked, like, are you going to go for a judge or a jury trial? He said, look, I ain't really talking about that right now, but why would they be talking at all? You know, smart people don't just do things. Smart people just don't do things. They do things for a reason. And I'm trying to figure out what the reason is behind doing an interview of this nature, and Jeff Pastor don't even open his mouth. And to me, I singled on they must be trying to influence the public and any potential jury if they decide to go that way. But his lawyer stands by what his innocence. Quote, Mr. Passes is still the same person that he was before. He's still a man of character. He's still a veteran of our armed services. He's still a husband, father, and friend. And basically he was the focus of what appears to be a sting operation. They got like a local developer. I mean, Jeff Pastor took a private plane down to Florida, something like this. And, you know, apparently, if you remember correctly from the indictment papers, you know, he was trying to get some big money out of them. I don't know. What they also claim is that even if he took money, they're saying that Jeff Pastor didn't vote in the way that they wanted him to. So what's the problem? You know, obviously there was no quid pro quo. But it just goes to show you, man, that the next year is going to be deep. So you got back-to-back trials. You got that trial, and then you got the trial of PG Sittenfield. And I think it was last week or so, there was a little bit of a video of PG along with his lawyers leaving the courtroom. They stopped with him for a second. He said, look, we're going to fight to the very end. And, you know, just knowing PG a little bit, it just seems as I could see his face. I could see this is something that's wearing on him. And I can imagine, you know what I'm saying, this is some real heavy ish right here. And a lot of people say that the feds don't bring a case unless they know they already got you. So we'll see what happens here. So that's going to be for next year, like next spring or so. And it's going to be back to back, and we'll see what finally happens. Like Tamaya Denard already pled guilty. She's doing 18 months in the federal prison. Then I think she's got like another 18 to 3 years of probation. Sad situation all over. But the point I want to make is, even though all that has happened to this point, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think that there's been any significant bills, legislation, charter amendments, or anything like that that would prevent the same thing from happening. Nothing. Like, everybody's been focusing on these council members, and perhaps rightly so. But what's the real nature? What's the real nature of the relationship of local developers as it relates to local elected officials? Like right here, right now, in my opinion, the same thing is going on. Ain't no difference. And I'm not saying the same thing in the sense of like, so, you know, council candidates are doing anything wrong. I'm just saying developers are still trying to influence council candidates. As we see here right now, a developer can sit down with a council member and say, look, you know, we got this development. Let me give you, you know, the virtues of it. And oh, by the way, don't you need $1,000? Okay, here's $1,000 check. That's all legal. They're still doing that. There's been no substantive change at all. And the only thing I can come up with is that that there's no will behind making any substantial changes. As we sit here right now, nothing has changed. Developers can still sit down with council candidates or council members and say, you know what? We got a great idea for this lot down here. Let me tell you all about it. And sit there and tell them all about it. Oh, here's $1,000. All legal. What's changed? Now, if I'm wrong about that, somebody call me up and let me know. 513-873-7134. But I believe that I am right about that. I don't think anything substantially has been changed. Now, I know that there's been some recommendations, and some of them I agree with. But who is the real shadow government in Cincinnati? Like, who is the real problem? Where is the real problem? And then we're hearing that, there's an idea on the table that would decrease the amount of money the city council makes. I think right now they're making about $60,000. If this idea is passed, is goes forward, I think it'll reduce it by like $15,000. How does that help corruption? I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. I bet there's smarter folks out there, but just a lot of question marks. And that's why I say, man, if you're not registered, get as much information as possible. If you can't do anything else, you on Facebook because you watching this show. Tap into some of those NAACP Prince Hall Mason forums. Just sit there for a little bit and get a sense of who they are. Could be the first time. Go to their websites. Get a sense of who these folks are. Send them an email. Send them a text message. You don't got to just sit back. You can send these counties a text message and say, hey, listen, I want to know where you are on this issue. And they should respond. If they're worth anything, they should respond. Jerome writes, TGIF, Nate and the Choppers, good morning to you. Regina writes, good morning, Friday. Good Friday morning. Make it a great day. Oh, absolutely. She writes, happy birthday, young man. Thank you so much. Caramel writes, that's what's up, Nate. Stronger, sharper, better. Oh, absolutely. All the way around. Caramel writes, Grand Risings, Nate and the Choppers. Good morning to you. JJ writes, regarding the title of the live, 2 years ago, Nas X was performing at the elementary schools. Search YouTube for Lil Nas X surprising the kids at Lander Elementary. Well, that gives us a great transition because this is the time. I want to talk about this. Is Lil Nas X, does he have any responsibility to parents out there? Does he have any responsibility to be some kind of a role model? He says no. I'm going to play for you a clip. You can find this on World Stars, readily available. This is a clip from the Breakfast Club. I'm going to play this for you, and then you tell me what you think. All right, check this out.
Do you feel the pressure of, I see it all the time, parents will be like, you have a responsibility because kids are watching. You hear that Cardi B had that same problem, and Nicki had that same problem. Do you feel that same way, like, raise your own kids?
I feel like I used to, but now it's just like, so? Like fuck your kids. Not like fuck your kids. That's exactly what harsh. You just said. but like you just gave them another headline, Montero. Okay, what agenda is that? The fuck your kids agenda? It's like we really get one chance to do this, at least to my knowledge. I don't know like what happens when we die or whatnot. So it's like I'm not like about to pander to your kids or you. Like anybody, like even I have to do this with my family members, like because my family members may not always agree with what I'm doing, or like whoever I'm dating, like they may not agree. But it's like I honestly really.
So basically, and again, my apologies. I should have gave you a warning. You had the F word a couple times. My apologies. I ain't perfect, but you get the gist of what I was trying to show you. He said, "F them kids." He said exactly what he meant. And I don't think he meant like, I don't care about children, but I think what he meant was that's not my responsibility to negotiate what kids see. That's mom and dad's responsibility. And I got to be honest with you. The man is right. The man is 100% right. I felt the same way about Charles Barkley many years ago when he said, I'm not a role model. I thought, Charles, you're right. You're not. Nicki Minaj shouldn't be a role model. If Nicki Minaj or Lil Nas X is a role model to your child, then you're doing something wrong. Now, let me back up here because the fact that they have a stage means that they inherently can get attention. And, a lot of younger people are listening to and watching his music. You know that, watching his videos. They're going to be impressionable. But should he care about that? No. Like you said, you got limited time on this world. You get one shot at this world. Do you? They ain't your kids. There's somebody else's children. If you don't want your kids to watch Lil Nas X, then don't let them watch it. Put a restriction so they can't get on YouTube. Don't let them get on Instagram. Don't let them get on some of these social medias. Like my daughter right now is not on social media and she wants to be on social media so bad. I won't let her. She don't need to be. For what? I keep telling her, come up with a business idea that you can get on Instagram. Dad, that's not fair. All my friends. I don't care about all your friends. I'm not all your friends. Daddy, I'm your father. That's what the rule is. You're 2 years away from 18. You can do it when you get 18. Until then, you're going to do what I want you to do. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm the father. You know what I'm saying? I got to set that standard. So I agree with what he said. I know he's outlandish and he be wearing dresses and stuff to like these, what was it, the MTV Music Awards or something recently with a dress on or something like that. Not my style. I'm too grown to be influenced by something like that. My mind is way too strong. I mean, hell, when I was younger, my mind was way too strong to be influenced by something that I didn't want to be influenced by. But I mean, the man is absolutely right. That's on mom and dad. If you don't like his video where, you know, him and a bunch of dudes is dancing around naked in what appears to be like a prison scene, then block your children's access to YouTube. That's it. That's all. If you don't want him to see, if you don't want your children to see that, then don't let them get on TikTok. They don't have to be on TikTok. Don't let them get on Instagram. They don't have to be on Instagram. You let them to be on Instagram because you want these things to pacify them. Well, when you do that, it comes with a price. And the price is that something might slip in that you don't want to get slipping in. It is what it is. I think he makes a point. I think he makes an excellent point, quite honestly. Okay, we got a call coming in. Listen, if you want to share your thoughts this morning, I'm here to receive it. You can easily do so. It's a free phone call anywhere in the country and some places in the world. All I ask is that you open your mind before you open your mouth. Let's go straight to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
What's up, Nate? It's Daryl in Atlanta.
What up, Daryl?
Hey, man, like I'm on vacation, so I can call you, but this is the last day I can do that. So I'll be
I appreciate it, man.
I'm back to work on Monday. Hey, man, look. Lil Nas X, I just wrote it in the chat. Lil Nas X and Nicki Minaj and others that follow behind them, they're right. They can play, you know, they could take the Charles Barkley route and say they're not role models. And I agree with you that it's the parents' responsibility to be the role models of their kids, or should I say children. That's their responsibility. But what I don't want to miss is in this country, Black people, you know, we suffer from images of negativity all the time. And at some point, celebrities, people of notoriety, have to take accountability for their platform. He knows he has a platform, but yet he says stuff like that. I mean, he's a young man. He don't even know the ramifications of what he's saying. His brain is still developing. Nicki Minaj, same thing with her. She'll say some stuff that's not true, and don't want to, and then get mad when she's called on it. And they don't want any accountability. They see the numbers in the Black community are high as heck with COVID deaths. Our life expectancy has reduced by 3 years, and they still saying that dumb shit. There's got to be accountability somewhere. So, yeah, you can do what you want, say what you want, but I've been getting into doing some classes online and looking at where our ancestors, from Africa, how we move. Our people, at our essence, we're not about this individualism. We always are people that, by nature, Black people look out for Black. At the end of the day, we kind of look out for each other, even when we don't even realize it. And then we got people buying into this white supremacy system that look like us, upholding it. And it goes back to, just being selfish and just not looking out for your brother or your sister. Well, you got any thoughts around that? Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm okay. But this is what I'm. Didn't Jay-Z, and correct me if I'm wrong, at one time he used to rap one way, and now that he's married and has kids, he looks at things another way and wish he wouldn't have presented some things earlier in his life and his music the way he did, looking back in life now, the way he did. Didn't he say there was something he learned
He
from
did.
that?
He
And
did.
I'm giving go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, let me back up, Daryl. So I just had my mic muted. I do that dumb ish at least once a show. So
Okay.
Let me reiterate what I just said because people didn't really hear. They heard you, they didn't hear me. So I separate Nicki Minaj and what she's saying about the pandemic. I'm redundant for you, but I want to make sure people hear what I said. I see a difference between what Nicki Minaj is saying about the pandemic, basically putting false information out there that could lead to people losing their lives. And it's different to me than an artist like Lil Nas X, who's simply being an artist and being creative and pushing an envelope. Is it making money for him? Yes. To me, that comes back on the parents. Since Elvis, the earliest artists, there's always been artists out there that people thought were too provocative for their children. That's for parents to decide and to navigate, not for the artist per se. But to get back to your point about Jay-Z, yeah, he said there was a point at which, I dumbed down my music and, I was talking about things that I knew were popular, but maybe not true, and it made me money. But that's his own personal evolution. Just like Lil Nas X, 15 years from now, he might look back and say, you know what? I wouldn't do it again. But we all do that.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm making a distinction between your music and performing as an artist and things you do as different events and stuff like that, and your influence through social media, which wasn't around like when we were younger.
Right.
That part of it, that social media part of it, wasn't around. So that's a stronger influence, and to me, that's a higher level of accountability.
I think
because that wasn't around.
I think both ways. You're right. It's a higher level of accountability for the parents. Like, right. I'm accountable for my children, nobody else. Me and my wife are the number one people who are accountable for our children above any and all other influences. It's on us first. Everything else is secondary.
But you saying there's no accountability on the artists or anybody that's popular with their how they use their social platform?
I think, yeah, there's some accountability. Like I said, like with Nicki Minaj, and you got a big platform and you're talking about a pandemic that's taking people's lives. My wife just told me that a friend of hers husband just died. Her friend married a dude. They had been married less than 2 years. He died of COVID. My wife's friend, her female friend, got the vaccine, I don't know, in March. Her husband was kind of hesitant, ended up getting COVID and dying. So I think when you're dealing with like health concerns, there's a responsibility to put out factual information. But when you're an artist, I think your first responsibility is to yourself, to be authentic to your creative soul and to put that out there. And how people interpret it is on them. And if parents allow kids to absorb it, that's on the parents.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I still think, I'm with you with the parent part of it, but I'm taking this back to the individual. I just, at some point, you're expressing yourself and I get all that, but there's a fine line between I'm expressing myself and I'm actually going in this area of saying things, with a cavalier attitude that may affect people, or a better word is influence people that follow me on this thing called social media, which, for good or bad, it is an influencer. And I'm just saying that, I can express myself, but it goes back to the old adage. People say it's in the Bible, with great gifts comes great responsibility. And you're responsible for that. Now, I just feel like there should be some level of accountability. No, I'm not your role model, but I also have to be accountable for what I say and what I do and how I move through the world, because I am an influencer on other people. Take care, Nate.
All right. Thanks for the call, bro.
All right.
Now, he brought up Nicki Minaj, man. It's been this whole thing because she put out some information that some people are saying misinformation about the vaccine. I think she said that she got a report that somebody's testicles like swole up. And there's been a back and forth to the point where the White House reached out to Nicki Minaj. Now, why would the White House reach out to Nicki Minaj? How is this different? Well, this is different because we're talking about a pandemic. We're talking about health-related issues at a time in which there's already a lot of misinformation swirling around out there right now. Like I told you, my wife just told us, this is real talk. Just yesterday, my wife told me that a longtime college friend of hers, husband passed away. We're talking about black folks. He passed away, got COVID, wasn't vaccinated. As the story goes, he was hesitant, which I completely understand. His wife got the vaccine back in March. He was hesitant on some, let me think about it type stuff, which I understand, got COVID and died. This is real. This ain't no joke. This is not a game. And so when it comes to talking about real world issues as it relates to health, that's different than the Montero video. And for me, when I look at Lil Nas X, I don't think he makes music for kids anyway, in my opinion. He makes music for adults, in my opinion. So why would adults allow their children to watch him in the first place? If you got a real problem with that, like if I had a real problem with part of the reason why I don't let my daughter get on social media is because it's two reasons. Number one, she don't need to be influenced. And number two, she's busy. She's too busy. That's like a whole nother damn job, being on social media, just scrolling. She got other goals right now. Like she at my neck right now about that. She just asked me last week and huffing and puffing like I give a damn. I don't care, girl. You better go get some dinner. I said no. That's it. And the rule is you can get on Instagram or TikTok if you got a reason to. What's your business plan? What are you creating here? Then you can get on. But you just want to squirrel and get into the latest gossip. And I don't give a damn about that. You can do that in 2 years when you're 18 on your own time. Right now, you a student athlete. Right now, you in my house. This is what I want you to do. And this is what you're going to do. And if I feel like she got a smartphone like a lot of kids, which gives her a lot of capabilities. If I find out she doing some dumbish, we're going to downgrade you. You can get a flip phone, sis. Well, you can't get on the internet. We can do that. Phone calls and text messages only. We can lock the whole thing down, and I will do that. You know what I'm saying? But some parents don't want to take the time to do that. They want to give their kid the thing as a matter of convenience and pacify them. And then you want to get mad because Lil Nas X turns up on the phone. You can't do that. You can't open the door to the world and then get mad at the world because they influence it. You open the door. So I don't really have a problem with Lil Nas X. It's a conversation piece. I think there's things that happen to give us some good conversation. But, I mean, if you want to wear a dress or he pregnant, okay. You know what I'm saying? He ain't doing nothing that Madonna didn't do or Grace Jones didn't do. He being outrageous. He making them coins. Go make your money, bro. I get it. But Nicki Minaj, I mean, some saying that she out here misinforming people. It's been like a whole thing I've yet to talk about. It's been like a whole thing. Dr. Fauci dismissed her claim while speaking with CNN's Jake Tapper last week. Quote, she should be thinking twice about propagating information that really has no basis except a one-off anecdote. And that's not what science is all about. So, I mean, I think I'm more upset. I would be more upset with Nicki Minaj for spreading false information about the pandemic than I would be with Lil Nas X saying F your kids because he want to wear a dress or he want to be overtly homosexual or he want to kiss a man on stage. I mean, that shit don't mean nothing. Mean nothing. But what do you think? 513-873-7134. Let me give you a heads up. So at 8:30 a.m. this morning, we're scheduled to get a phone call from Brian Garry. He is a candidate for city council. I reached out to him because he was supposed to be with the NAACP forum on Tuesday, didn't show up. He out here walking on the Watson Trail. I like to know why. And then secondly, I want to get into, some of the finer points of his campaign. It's be an opportunity to hear for him directly. Then at 9 a.m., we're scheduled to get a Zoom call from a WVXU journalist who's going to talk about how a local affordable housing project ended up displacing people. So I want to get a little deeper with some of these local issues, and it begins today. Good morning to you. And then on Monday, we'll be talking about the fact the legal marijuana trade in Ohio and how that's going to impact non-white folks. Are black people going to get a piece of the pie? I'm very curious about that. So make sure you check out the show on Monday. But back to your chat. Let me throw my number up on the screen. Perhaps you might want to give us a call. Again, remember, open your mind before you open your mouth. That's all I ask for. Other than that, we can agree to disagree and keep it popping. Good morning, everybody. Andriel writes, good morning, Nate and friends. Happy Friday. It is a happy Friday. It's beautiful, actually. Yo writes, good morning. Oh, she's talking to Nikki. Nikki writes, good morning. Hold on, I'm get a text message here. Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, I got to do that. It's obligatory. Tiff writes, good morning, all. Jerome writes, TGIF, Nate and the Choppers. Good morning to you, Jerome. Brandy writes, good morning. It's Friday. Enjoy your weekend. I'll definitely be enjoying mine. Stay safe, y'all. Absolutely. Me too. I wake up every day and I think, what do I want to do today? And I do it. JJ writes, that's what the Bengals are for, to distract. Same reason they have sports, gambling, prostitution, and drugs in prison, to keep control. And to make money. I think the distraction part is like secondary. It's about making money. They had me watching Big Brother last night. I hadn't watched that show in years. I'm telling you, man, the Cookout, that's the power of coalescing. That's what black folks can do. Now, I know it's a small little thing. It's a reality, show. In the scheme of the larger things, it's insignificant. I get it, but that don't mean that we can't watch it and then like extrapolate or grab something, pull something out, and then put it in place. The lesson from Big Brother is that when black folks stay together and you weed out the Judases, because it's always a Judas. It's always a Judas. We got a lot of Judases in the black community, and most of them are up front and center, right in front of you. We got a lot of them, and they's part of the problem. But this is what happens when black folks come together under a united banner for something that's positive. You can make things happen. For all the people that watch Big Brother, the number one question I have, it'll tell us a lot about CBS, is what are they going to do next season? Just think about this. For the first time ever, CBS put a lot of black folks. I'm not sure if it's a majority or whatever. They put a lot of black folks on that show. Are they going to do the same thing next year? What they do next year will tell us a lot about the executives for that network. Just a little something to think about. Nikki writes, would you be a contestant on a reality show? Sure. Why not? Sure. I'd go on Big Brother. I sure would. Why wouldn't I? I mean, you only live once. YOLO. Have some fun with it. You know, who knows? I might mess around and make some money or something. I don't know. It'd be fun. I definitely would. Absolutely. Akeem writes, what up, Nate? All charges dropped against T.I. and Tiny. Is that right? They paid him off. Tabitha writes, good morning, Choppers. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Jerome writes, Facebook took a minute to come up. It does that. Akeem writes, definitely a pleasure seeing the first person navigating civilians to space as a black woman. I did see that. Oh, man, listen, we conquering the atmosphere. We got civilians taking space flights. We so arrogant. We are on the precipice of our own arrogance, man. And we splitting the atom. We got pieces of metal on Mars. Civilians are going into the upper atmosphere, and humans are still worse than COVID. So, man, I hate to see that, Deborah. Hope you got back. Just kind of refresh it. It should be cool. Darlene's in the house. She writes, greetings. Happy Friday. Good morning to you, Darlene. As always, great to see you. Great to see everybody. Darlene writes, thumbs up to the cookout. Absolutely. Some people want Xavier to win. I don't really care. I want somebody black to win. That's it. Brandy writes, he's disgusting. Talking about Lil Nas X. Carmelita writes, your kids are yours to raise. If you don't like what people say, don't listen. Brandy writes, agreed, Nate. Fame writes, and Fame, leave people alone on Facebook, man. I saw you was in that local sports group messing with brothers. Leave people alone, man. Damn. You're always messing with folks. Good morning. I'm going to talk some ish today. I'm disgusted, and y'all going to find out why. Clarence writes, where you at, Clarence? He writes, morning, Choppers. Morning to you, Clarence. Good to see you. Tracy's in the house. She writes, good morning. Yeah, my mic was off, man. I'm just trying to keep y'all on your toes. Kruther writes, good morning, Choppers. Brenda writes, after they make their millions is when some rappers realize the effect their music has on the communities. A belated rude awakening. Yeah, you're right about that. But again, like I said, I grew up through the evolution of hip hop. I was influenced by Too Short and all these cats, man, growing up. I didn't go out and do no dumb ish. The reason why I didn't go out and do any dumb ish is because I had a strong foundation at home. So is it possible for somebody to have a strong foundation at home and then be influenced by the music or the videos or whatever and do something negative? Absolutely. But I think it's less possible. I think it's far less possible. When you got good role models inside your house, and see, the thing about kids is, and I'm not getting on any horse because I'm not trying to say I'm some good father and all this kind of shit. I ain't trying to come off like that. But I'm gonna say it anyway. Being a good parent and preventing outside influences from impacting your kids is not just about access. It's about how you conduct yourself in front of your kids. That's what it's really about too. You know what I'm saying? It's about what they see you do. It's not just about can they get on the internet? It's both of them. It's about giving them a positive role model inside the house on all ways as a man, but it's also about restricting their access to the dumb ish. It's both of them. If you just restrict the access to the dumb ish, but they get a little bit of it, but inside the house, you ain't stepping up like mom and dad. Ashley writes, facts, Nathan. Crystal's in the house. She writes, good morning, everyone. Good to see you. Don writes, no, it's not. Mike writes, morning, Chop Shop. Good morning to you. Jerome writes, the artist has no responsibility to people, children. That's the parents' job. Correctamundo. Don writes, rumors will make a person think stupid. Don writes, so much misinformation that's not a fact. You'll but you'll believe anything just so you can believe something. James writes, how we go from BET Uncut to Lil Nas X. We used to have to sign a permission slip to view sex ed. Now they don't care. Well, what's the difference between BET Uncut, which I used to enjoy? Used to come on like 2 a.m. in the morning. I'd be like, yeah. But that was before, sexually provocative images and videos were less accessible. Now, you go to, I can tell you 3 or 4 websites, you can watch anything you want to watch. And I mean everything. And it's all free. It didn't used to be that way. I would say there's very little difference between BET Uncut and Lil Nas X. They're both sexually explicit. One might be of a heterosexual nature. The other might be of a homosexual nature, but it's still sexually explicit content. What's the difference? Mike writes, folks are upset with Beyonce for the same reason. She makes music for adults. Absolutely. See, that's what the thing that get me. How you gonna get mad at an artist that make music for adults because you talking about your kids might be influenced? It's not for them. Damn it. I hate that, man. Everything don't have to be for kids. Everything is not for kids. There's some things that's strictly for adults. And anybody taking medical advice from Nicki Minaj is a damn fool. Joy Reid called her out back on September 13th saying, quote, you have 22 million followers on Twitter. For you to use your platform to encourage our community to not protect themselves and save their lives, my God, sister, you can do better than that. And this is because Minaj posted that she had COVID previously and would likely get vaccinated before going on tour. She clapped back at her. So I just feel like, so Nicki Minaj posted something on September 13th on Twitter. My cousin in Trinidad won't get the vaccine because his friend got it and became impotent. His testicles became swollen. His friend was weeks away from getting married. Now the girl called off the wedding. So just pray on it and make sure you're comfortable with your decision, not bullied. So do people feel like there's forces out there that are bullying you to get the vaccine? Let's start right there. Is that how you feel? Anybody feel that way? I don't feel that way. Before I got the vaccine, I didn't feel that way. I wasn't bullied into it. I did it because I felt it was the best health decision for me. Simple as that. That's the first when Nicki Minaj said that back on September 13th, that was the first time I'd heard anything like that you can become impotent. I took the vaccine. My testicles did not swell up. They didn't. When I got a vasectomy, my testicles swole up because I had just a unique reaction to it. I mean, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty, and it wasn't pretty. Let's put it that way. It wasn't pretty. So was that irresponsible for Nicki Minaj to put that out there? I mean, some might say yes, some might say no. I don't know. You have to make your own decision about it. But I haven't heard that before. Like, is that what's happening? Has anybody know anybody that took the vaccine and now they're impotent? I have not heard that. I haven't heard it all. And it makes me wonder what was really going on with this friend. All right. But sit tight, everybody. Let me take a quick pause for the calls. We'll come right back. It's the Nathan Ivy Show, live, local, and vocal. I want to get your thoughts about everything we're talking about this morning. But first, I want to get a word in from our sponsor. Today's show is brought to you by my friends over at Renew Community Church. RenewCommunityChurch.org. They have an ebook that is available for download for you this morning.
The words for today are attract more money. It takes 60 seconds for the universe, through the invisible law of attraction, to be fully activated in your life. God's invisible law of attraction is available to you because you are just 60 seconds away from attracting more money. Take the next 60 seconds and attract more money in your life by telling a financial story for 60 seconds, 3 times a day for 21 days. Why 21 21 days? Because that's how long it takes to change your life. Now say this financial story out loud 3 times a day. Today, I accept my divine and human right to have more than enough money, to be a financial blessing to self, family, and others. I will use my financial abundance today to bless so many people in this universe. Money is my friend. I share my money with my friends. For a free ebook, visit renewcommunitychurch.org.
Microphone, one mission. Remember, this is the last honest place in Cincinnati media. Good morning to you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Now, so far, we've been talking about numerous things. Hold on, I'm getting a message from Brian Garry. Let me double check with him. Hold on. Hold on one second. Yeah, I like to get him on camera. That's what I like to do. Good morning to you. Good morning. We are back. All right. While we await, like coming up at 8:30, we got Brian Garry. He's a candidate for city council. We'll talk with him about his campaign. At 9 a.m., we've got a WVXU journalist coming in, scheduled to come in to talk about an issue. How does an affordable housing complex end up displacing people? That seems counterintuitive. Aren't they supposed? Wait a minute. We'll talk about it at 9 a.m. But now we got Kev on the cell on the line. Hey, good morning, Kev. Welcome to the show.
Morning, Nathan. It's a great Friday, man. It looks beautiful outside, don't it?
It does. That's why I got the window open, man. I want to let the sun in.
Oh, I wanted to let you know, man. I kicked off that I gotta get, and I don't mean my daughter said I should say it the way I say it, but I kicked off my I gotta get unfat campaign. So been getting it in myself.
That's beautiful.
We gotta this. Yeah, man, this health thing is real. I was at Withrow High School running around the building the other night, late night, because my gym closed before I could get in there. So,
that's beautiful.
But we're going to get it in.
Beautiful. Great to hear, brother.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so Nikki came back on that, man, and said that she was telling her cousin's story. She wasn't trying to, she said Joy Reid popped off for no reason and unfounded, and she don't know why she coming for another sister like that. She shouldn't be coming for a sister, you know what I'm saying? We should be supporting one another. But she said she wasn't saying don't get vaccinated. She was just telling the story that her cousin told her. And she said, you know, you should make sure that you do your research, find out your facts. I agree with that. I don't have no problem with that, man. I mean, after that, I think you should get vaccinated, but that's just me. And I have now gone to the position of it's gonna be cold, but whatever. You know, it is what it is. If everybody's dying and you watching them die, and you don't do whatever it takes so that you don't die, and I will pray for your soul. But that's on you. And the only other thing I'm asking is you stay away from me. I ain't got no problem with it. I mean, you know, it's your life to live. That is absolutely true. And people gonna be like, oh man, that's cold blooded. You wishing death on people. I ain't wishing nothing on you. There is a vaccine out there. If you take it, there's a higher likelihood that you'll do well. If you don't take it, apparently from what's happening right now, it seems like there's a higher likelihood that you may not do well should you get the virus. So I you know, but I think it got spun wrong. And Nikki just like, look, man, do your research. That's what we believe here in the Chop Shop. Isn't that correct?
Absolutely.
Is that what we do?
Absolutely.
That's why a certain kind of guy keeps getting fact checked. You know what I'm saying? The one that says that trust but verify, and then tells a lot of things that you have to verify. You know, we right now, man, I'm in a position where I'm like saying to myself, okay, so I want to take a trip with a family member, and I don't want to get on an airplane. That sucks. You know what I'm saying? And then the people who tell me that, well, it's my right not to get vaccinated, blah, blah, blah. Cool, just stay off the airplane now I'm going to get on, man. Am I wrong for that? Am I wrong for saying I don't want to be on the airplane with the person who won't get vaccinated because it's their right not to get vaccinated? So does it make me wrong?
I don't think you're wrong in your opinion. I mean, if that's your opinion, that's your opinion.
Yeah, I mean, so, but they're making it sound like because I have made my decision, right? I made my decision to get vaccinated. And so now that I've made my decision to get vaccinated, your decision not to get vaccinated trumps my decision to get vaccinated. And I got to be vac shamed or something if I decide to tell you just flat out, like, man, I don't want to ride with you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, you got an option. Don't take a plane. Drive.
Yeah, see, I feel that, right? So they got options. Don't take a plane. It's the same, right?
Right.
People always used to tell me, you know what I'm saying? People always used to tell me, right? People always used to tell me, you always think you're right. Well, two things about that. Number one, it's stupid to argue any point from a position where you think you're wrong. That's just dumb. And if you do that, well, I'm not going to say what you are, but that doesn't make any sense, right? And if I think I'm right, it means you think you're right. That's the whole point. That's the premise.
But I think
right?
the difference, Kev, in this scenario with the plane is that I think the onus is more on you than them.
Oh, that's not fair. Why is that right?
It is fair. It is fair. I'm going to tell you why. Because you care more about being on a plane under those circumstances than the people you're talking about. They don't care.
No.
They didn't get the vaccine, and they don't care about being on the plane. You did get the vaccine, and you do care about it. So you care more. The person that cares more about it is always either going to lose or is the one that's going to have to do something about it. I'm not saying that is fair, but that's just the reality of it.
So let's make this fair. You stay off the plane that I want to get on. And because I want to get on that plane, and I want people who are vaccinated like me to get on that plane, you go catch another plane.
No.
How about we got a vaccinated plane and we got an unvaccinated plane?
No.
Don't ride on the unvaccinated plane.
No. You should stay off the plane because you care more about being on the plane with people who are unvaccinated. The people you're talking about don't care. They don't care either way. You care more about it than they do.
Now I got to drive to Florida.
Now you got to drive to Florida. That's right.
Why I got to drive 15?
Because you care more about being on a plane with unvaccinated people than the people who are unvaccinated get on the plane with you. That's why.
That's garbage stuff. That's garbage.
It's not garbage. It's the facts. That's just what it is.
Man, listen. They need to go ahead and either get vaccinated or stay off the plane. I don't have to capitulate to them.
You do. You do. Let me tell you why. Because you care more about the scenario than they do.
No, Nathan. No, yeah. I can go out and make policy that changes that, right? There could be a policy that says you're mandated to either get a vaccine or stay off the plane.
Yeah, but until that happens,
I'm still taking care of my health.
Until that happens, you're going to have to make a decision. Either you're going to get on the plane with the unvaccinated people and deal with it, or you're going to drive to Florida. Now, what's it going to be?
Fact. So here's the deal. I say we push for that mandate, bump these people that are telling me that I'm getting in the way of their rights and they don't believe in mandates and all the rest of this other crap. Y'all stay off the plane.
It's just
I'm going to Florida.
It's just like sporting events. There's some events I'm not going to go to because I know it's people out there who are unvaccinated with no mask on, and I care about it. But there's people that go to these sporting events who are not vaccinated and don't wear masks because they don't care. So the onus is on me to not put myself in that scenario. That's just what it is.
Or to change the policy and put the mandate into mandate. I hate that word. The requirement. I'm sorry, because mandate it's just an inflammatory word.
Yeah, but until they change the policy, because I care more about it, I'm gonna have to either not go or go and deal with it. And I choose not to go to certain places. It's what it is.
I'm with you. So now let's pivot 100, right? We're going to go 100 degrees on this. We're going to go back to policy, and we're going to say, all right, so we need to make sure that we show up at the elections, that we vote for people who will change policy and put something in place that protects my right to get on a daggone plane and be as safe as I can be. And yes, I am opposed to, if my position is fundamentally opposed to your position of you being able to do whatever you want to do, oh well. Life's hard. You got to take your lumps as you get them. For right now, I take the lumps. I agree with you, Nate. But if you put the policy in place, I don't have to worry about all of that. So all of you people out there that want to come bash me, because I know that's what's going to come next. That's all right. Come bash me, because I ain't afraid, right? All you people that want to come bash me because you're saying, oh, your right's more important than mine. Yes, they are. Exactly. That's exactly right. Because in the scheme of things, in the long scheme of things, it's either going to be your way or my way. And I'm going to pivot for my way every time. That just makes sense to me. Because in an argument where I think I'm wrong, I ain't arguing. But I don't think I'm wrong. So don't get vaccinated. I don't care. Stay off the plane.
No, it's not like that, bro. All right, brother. Thank you for the call, man. Kev is hilarious, man. I mean, that is real simple to me. You care more about it, so you're going to have to do something about it. The people that are not vaccinated, they're not wearing masks, they don't get on the plane, they don't care. The person that don't care has always got an advantage. Always, in every scenario. Always. It's just the way it is. If you don't want to get on a plane, you're going to have to drive to Florida. Or get on a plane, keep your mouth closed and deal with it. Buy yourself one of those suits with your own oxygen, your own oxygen tank. You cool then. You know what I'm saying? Or your own filtration. I don't think they'll let you get on the plane with an oxygen tank. I can see that being dangerous at 30,000 feet. But maybe you got your own little personal filtration system. That's what you're going to have to do. Because the people that don't care, they obstinate. They know, this damn mask, man. Oh, they know, they just made this up. They don't care. They got an advantage to you. That's just what it is. James writes, so why should the artists care? The artists don't care. Some do, some don't. The artist cares about whatever this is inside of them, getting it out. That's what they care about. How the world perceives is up to the world. It is what it is. And not all art is for children. Why do we think everything got to be for damn children? Where my adults at? Everything is not for kids. Can we have something that's grown folks? Damn, we waited 18 years. Everything is not for children. Little City Girls, not for children. Nicki Minaj, not for children. Megan Thee Stallion, not for children. Lil Nas X, not for children. Madonna, not for children. Mapplethorpe, not for children. Not everything is for kids. That's okay. God dang it. Don writes, as a parent, you like the responsibility to monitor your children 24/7, but in a modern age of technology today, yes, you can monitor your children 24 hours a day. Angela writes, parents can't monitor their kids 24 hours a day, and kids do have their own minds. You can teach them right from wrong, but they will make their own decisions. Coming from me, who already raised teenagers and a baby, believe me, it was a learning experience. I'm glad I got adults. I know you are. I'm so jealous of you. If you're an empty nester, I hate you. I hate you until I get there. Then I love you again. Tracy writes, my kids don't have social media accounts either. They don't have no reason to be on it. Right. She want to be on social media so bad because her friends on social media, but I don't give a dang. Your job is student athlete. Bring them grades in, get that body together, man, get your mind together. Being on social media, man, sometimes you can waste hours of your day just scrolling. And sure, it's entertaining. I just saw something that said that basically social media is leading to depression because people's dopamine levels in their brains is going up artificially. And when they come down off of it, it just leads to depression. I don't know if it's true. Now, it was in the Wall Street Journal. I thought it was interesting. Just scrolling. Oh, you know, your dopamine level goes up and then it pushes your body hormones out of whack or something like that. It's just something I read. I don't know the science on it. Hey, Brittany, what's going on? She writes, a lot of kids don't have their own social media accounts or still seeing the content through the internet and their friends' account. You're right. All a parent can do is what all a parent can do. Anything that a gay or lesbian person with posts on social media, they're non-productive and it's not healthy to the heterosexual community. Well, Don, see, this goes back to, do you think that people are born gay? Okay, appreciate the love. Thank you. Oh, I got a lot of friends whose birthdays today. Damn, my Virgo's in the house. What up? All these beautiful Virgos. I love me some Virgos. I didn't know you was a Virgo. Cool, come on in here. I'm gonna have to close that window because what's happening is the lighting is off. And the camera I'm using detects the light and then changes the focus, and that's why it keeps coming in and out. So I'm gonna have to take a quick break and then change that. Put a cover over that. Keisha writes, "What if it's the truth? You better listen to everything you hear." Clarence writes, in my Boosie voice, I'm gonna snatch him off the stage and beat his ass when he start undressing. Brandy writes, Old Town Road song was a family-friendly song, so it let some parents guard down to figure he's not so bad. So now Lil Nas X showing the type ish he's really on, and kids are watching, shaking my head. Well, I mean, was Old Town Road really a family-friendly song? Was it, Brandy? I mean, what was he really talking about? You know what I'm saying? You're right. There was a little bit of a bait and switch there. Or I don't know if Lil Nas X was bait and switch or whether it's just the complexities of the human mind and artistry. Like, if you go look at most artists' whole album, they might have one or two songs talking about this and one or two songs talking about something completely different. Like I said, I like gangster rap. I said it. I used to like some gangster rap. I was in the mood for it. I used to listen to some sexually explicit rap. I used to listen to Public Enemy in the more conscious rap. It depended on my mood. Sometimes I love documentaries. But as I told you, sometimes I watch reality television. I used to watch The Real Housewives of this or that. That shit was great. I love drama. As long as it's not in my family and my business, I'm with it. Yeah, I'm with it. You know what I'm saying? I think that's just the complexities of life. You know, most people are into multiple different things. It is what it is. What? Clarence writes, Nate, don't let Brian Garry evade the question. No, I hit him up. I was like, look, and you know, we talking about this and people want to know why you weren't at the forum. Can you come on? He hit me up after the show, said, yeah. So ain't no evading. He already know what it is. Plus, we'll get a chance to talk about his campaign coming up, hopefully in the next 5 minutes. So no, Brian Garry, I don't know. That's why I was surprised. He seems to be a straight shooter to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not telling you who to vote for, but I've always had a favorable opinion of him. So we'll get to the bottom of it. I don't know. I have no idea. Andrea writes 6 blacks and 6 whites. Is that right? Oh, okay. Damn, I love it. See what happens when the scales are balanced? See what happens when the scales are balanced? TC writes, good morning, TGIF. TGIF. Marvin writes, right, it's going to be telling. Been a Big Brother fan since it started. This was major. This was super. People just don't understand in a cultural standpoint, in terms of the world of reality television, how big this is. and it's going to be real telling by CBS. If next year they put less black folks on there, there's going to be a problem. But now it opens up a door, because since they did this, if they put 6 blacks and 6 whites on there, it automatically becomes a race war from the beginning. If next year, the next season of Big Brother, if they don't put the same amount of blacks as whites on there, they're gonna lose audience, and people are gonna criticize the net like, oh, you trying to do some old Tulsa, Oklahoma stuff. You trying to undercut the black folks. And if they put the same amount of black folks as white folks on there, it automatically becomes a race thing from the beginning. Because moving forward, any black people they put on there are gonna have to do the same thing, or they're gonna get called out. You cannot follow the cookout and be on some Judas type stuff, or I don't see race. You can't do that. Or you can, but you're going to get some heat when you come out the house. So that's why I say this is going to be real. This is the kind of drama I like, because it spills over into the real world and kind of trades upon some issues and things that we talk about every single day. It's going to be real interesting to see what happens. James writes, my problem is these platforms allowing the actions. YouTube baby song, Lil Nas X, number 3. Yeah. Well, that's what people do. They go on YouTube. YouTube is in the business of getting clicks and plays. It's just a video. I saw the video. It's not for me. I'm like, I don't want to see all this. I turned the ish off. You know what I'm saying? But, hey, obviously people like it. Let me see. David's in the house. He writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Good morning to you, David. Good to see you. Famous talking to Nikki. You said he look elite, huh? I ain't even noticed. I'm not thinking. Kamika writes, so YouTube and Lil Nas X conspiring to corrupt kids? I don't think YouTube is doing that. YouTube has got a lot of YouTube is in the business of making money. Lil Nas X is in the business of making money, pardon me. He wants to make money. And pushing the envelope makes money. Come on, y'all. People have been criticizing art. Remember Madonna, everybody was criticizing her. She's so sexual. Well, at the time I was an adult, I liked it. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Elizabeth is in the house. She writes, good morning, all. Jenny writes, good morning, Nathan and the Choppers. Good morning to you. Barry writes, good morning, Choppers. Good to see you. Graxon's in the house, a.k.a. Black Russia. He writes, y'all see Pastor X on WCPO? Looks like he's going to fight to the end, hashtag alt middle. I did see Graxton, and I did see Pastor X. We named him that. It's funny as hell. There's a whole backstory to it, man. You got to be there. And I think that his lawyer is smart. I think his lawyer is trying to influence and impact the public and a potential jury. That's because it really was no more new information out of it. I'm like, why is he doing this? I'm like, aha, he wants to influence the jury. But again, as I said, I invited Brian Garry on the show. I see Brian Garry back. Say, hey, Brian, give me a thumbs up. You can hear me. All right, he can hear me. I'm gonna bring him straight on and start the conversation with him. He is a candidate for city council. And again, I reached out to him because I thought he was supposed to be on the form for the NAACP, but he was not there. So I wanted to get his thoughts as to what happened with that. So let's bring him on. Hey, oh boy, let's take that off. Boom, there we go. Hey, what's up, Brian?
Good morning, Nathan. How are you?
I'm doing great. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Awesome.
Absolutely. How have you been? How's the campaign treating you?
Wow, the campaign is just amazing. I got so much support. I don't even know what to say. I think we're one of the top fundraisers and got a lot of people on the team. It's just really really heartening for me that so many people know me and trust me and love me and are willing to sacrifice their hours and time going door to door, making phone calls and helping raise money and all of those kind of things that you have to do for a campaign.
Okay. Now, I know you've been at it for a minute, man. I mean, how many, this time will make how many times you've run so far for city council?
Well, this is my 4th time. But as you know, well, I'm an activist. I'm a person that's run against the system, so to speak, like against the establishment. And sometimes, like in this case, sadly, the Democratic Party didn't endorse me. But they have previously endorsed a lot of people who, have been engaged in some questionable activities. And so I'm not a part of that mess, which I can say, thankfully. But at the same time, we just had to be sure not to vote straight ticket, because there's a lot of straight Democratic ticket, because there's a lot of Democrats out here who are, true blue dyed-in-the-wool Democrats, but they don't necessarily support because of all that developer corruption that's been going on downtown.
Okay, I want to get into all of that, man. But let's start there. So I know you sought the Democrat nomination or endorsement, right?
Yes, I
and
did.
then there was some pushback there. I mean, the thing was you and some other folks, you were kind of pushing back on your decision. In your opinion, why do you think the Democrats didn't endorse you?
Well, you see, there's a huge disconnect, Nathan, between the Democratic Party and the Democratic people. So the Democratic Party, as you know, calls Black people their base. Did you know that? That's what they call them, the base. Whenever they say the base, they're referring to Black people. And so what they mean by that is there are automatic voters. They're just automatically going to vote for us in our party. But then, you look at Cincinnati has been democratically controlled for 50 years. I'm talking Democratic mayor and a majority of Democrats on council. So anything you see right now in Cincinnati, I would say you can lay at the feet of the Democrats. Sorry to say, but they control it. So, they won't be controlling it probably soon, and sadly, kind of now, even though they have a majority, they're not all voting the same way. So kind of de facto right now, the Republicans have control. But at any rate, looking back, poverty has increased. Black population has decreased substantially and is on track to decrease even more substantially because of policies supported by the party. You look at the tax abatements supported by the party. They are decreasing the Black electorate so that less Black people are here within the city limits to even vote for people on city council. We've had the deadliest year on record in terms of gun violence last year. And we have 28,000 units short of affordable housing, mostly in the lower income area. When we say affordable, I'm talking what we call 30% of AMI, which is like $15,000 per year income. That type of housing is what's predominantly missing in that 28,000 unit shortage. But again, it's Democratic policies of supporting, which they have 97% of their funding has gone toward luxury condos, luxury apartments, the streetcar, the stadium. So you have to look at these policies and say, well, maybe that's why we're losing Black population, and that's why we don't have enough affordable housing, and we have a much more dangerous city for certain.
Yeah, that's interesting because let me be straight with you. As you were talking and criticizing the Democrat Party, I'm wondering, why did you seek their endorsement? Is this a little bit of sour grapes because they didn't endorse you? If you had the endorsement, would you be saying these same critiques about the Democrat Party?
Well, again, there's a big difference between the Democratic Party and the Democratic people. So I'm a Democratic people, been Democratic all my life, but the party itself needs reformed. We have seen this corruption. This corruption needs to be reformed. Just because I think something is dirty doesn't mean that I don't think that it needs to be washed. Why would I abandon the party that I grew up with? The party of Thomas Jefferson, the party of Barack Obama. Why would I abandon that just because they've gone bad or in the wrong direction? I believe anyway that it can still be fixed and that it can truly represent the people. The last time I ran and I was endorsed by the Democratic Party was 2007. Just to give you an example, the Democratic Party, if you recall correctly, so I was on the executive committee of the NAACP. I was the community coordinator, and we were running an anti-jail campaign. So the Democratic Party had put on the ballot a new $32 million jail that they wanted to build downtown. And we at the NAACP and myself, my candidacy, were against building of this jail because we know when they build the jail, who are they going to fill it with? And so we were against it. And so we put it, we came out against it. And we, in fact, we defeated it. They put it on twice. We defeated it twice. But what I'm saying is every single candidate that was endorsed by the Democratic Party and the Democratic Party itself voted for this. They were all for this jail. I was the lone sole Democrat against it. But sometimes they say it's better to stand alone on the side of right than be in a group of people that's standing for wrong.
So back to the Democratic Party, why do you think you didn't get the endorsement, in your opinion?
Well, they pretty much told me that I wouldn't play ball with 4th Street. 4th Street is where the Port Authority, the Chamber of Commerce, all the, that used to be the financial district. All the banks were on 4th Street, the big, big tall buildings of banks. So, and, I would so-called support development, but I support development that's inclusive. So if they come with some exclusive development that they want the city to support, like Liberty and Elm, I mean, that's the biggest development in the history of Over the Rhine ever. And then they put 0 affordable housing in it. Why would I support that? I mean, we are in a crisis where people who are of lower income and even of middle income aren't able to afford their housing anymore. I mean, the average 1-bedroom apartment is $1,076 in Cincinnati
now. Let's talk about the NAACP. I was hoping to talk with you on Tuesday, and I think they were expecting you to be there as well, up until the last minute. What happened with that, Brian? Why were you not on the forum?
Oh, well, I didn't know I had to be on the forum. That was, I'll take full responsibility for that. But when I had somebody look at the email, they looked at the wrong email, that there was a forum the day before that was for the school board. And so I got text messages texting people like, it's only for the school board, right? Yes, it's only for the school board. So I thought it was only for the school board, but I had the wrong day. So the school board was Tuesday. I was supposed to be on a Wednesday. I had a misunderstanding. I apologized profusely when I got their text message and I asked to be rescheduled. I was one of, there were 6 people that were supposed to be on, and 4 of the 6, from my understanding, I could be wrong, but I believe 4 of the 6 didn't show up. So all of my life, Nathan, I grew up in Bond Hill, and all I saw when I looked to my left and to my right was Black people. I mean, my godmother, my godfather, my best friend, everybody that I knew was African American. And so throughout my life, in fact, the people who support me the most are African American. So, and I mean, I was on the executive board, so it's not like I would purposefully miss being among my people and the people that support me the most. So it was an error on my
okay.
Yeah.
You're saying it was just an error on whoever's part, your part or whatever. And but you would have been there, is what you're saying.
Absolutely. And I'm asking to be there in the future. Hopefully they will reschedule me to, because I think there are 6 of these forums or something.
Yeah, 5 more.
5 more. And so, yeah, I'm hoping that they'll let me be on a future one.
Yeah, I thought it was strange. As I told my audience, I was like, I've always known you to be a stand-up guy, and I thought it was very, very strange. And we were preparing, and I think they reached out. You had a video up on the Wasson Trail or something like that. We were all like,
"Yeah,
why is he on the Wasson Trail? It seems so uncharacteristic."
Right. I wasn't even doing anything that precluded me from being there. I just didn't know I was supposed to be on. And I did get a text, but it was like a Facebook message, and I didn't see that until 10:30 because I have to go into there especially to see that. And then once I got it, I emailed David or texted him, Facebook messaged him right back and apologized and asked if I could be on. I told him, I said I thought it was only school board that night. So.
Okay, well, thank you for explaining that. I appreciate it, because we were definitely looking for you. But since I
feel terrible, believe me.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. Because a lot of time and effort comes into that to doing those kind of things.
No, but since my stomach sunk. I mean, I was just I mean, you can't go back in time, but when that occurred, I just couldn't believe that had occurred, and I was deeply sorry.
So since you're here, let's talk about your platform. Tell us, I got a few questions I want to run through. It's about that time of year for the Nathan Ivey Show for us to talk to all the political candidates. As a matter of fact, I think You're not the first one. We talked to some folks a few months ago, but for what we're doing in late September, you'll be the first one. Tell us why you're running. Why are you running? I know you've run several times, but why are you running this time? And then also talk to us about, if elected, what are your major pillars? What is it that you want to get done?
Yeah, so my slogan is One Cincinnati, which stands for opportunity, neighborhoods, and equality. I've stood for the same thing all of my life. Growing up in Bond Hill, my mom was the president, joint presidents with Reverend Russo O'Neill. That's the grandfather. May he rest in peace. And him and my mom were co-presidents of the Bond Hill Community Council together. Ever since then, when I was a little kid, my mom would take me around with her organizing Bond Hill and organizing against unwanted development. When I was 3 months old, she put me on her hip and went around, because there was a huge development at the end of Catalina, the street I lived on the corner of Catalina and Phantom. And at the end of the street, they were trying to put up like a 10-story development. She fought it and won. It was one of the, early victories for neighborhoods. And so ever since then, I've sought to basically do the same thing. In Bond Hill, she created the Community Development Corporation in Bond Hill, which fixes up housing and leaves people in their homes. And that's what I still do today for a living, is create affordable housing and leave people in their homes. But additionally, when we look around the city, as an example, Madisonville, I was in a forum last night. It's crazy stuff, Nathan, but the developer out there is Ackerman. They're on Madison Road, where you see all those developments on like Wetzel and Madison. And the city gave them control over that corner, because that's a city-owned shopping strip right there, where Gina's is, and Ice, and the Braxton Can Memorial Clinic. But the city, for some reason, gave management over to Ackerman, which is developing luxury apartments across the street. And what they did was they bought out the lease for the Family Dollar. So the Family Dollar had a 35-year lease, but they bought it out because they didn't want the clientele or the people who patronize Family Dollar. So we went out and tried to fight it, of course. We weren't even sure what was happening because I didn't know until, pretty far into the fight that Ackerman actually had management of that plaza. But at any rate, so this kind of thing is happening where the city's hands are really dirty, because they're the ones who gave management over to a developer to kick out the Family Dollar, which was the only place that people could get, within walking distance, to get baby bottles and formula and medicine and food and necessities.
Okay. Do you want to expound any more about what the pillars are of
opportunity, neighborhoods, and equality? So that would fit into the category of neighborhoods. Opportunity, I see affordable housing as the biggest opportunity for anyone who is in poverty to get out of poverty and to get into the middle class. Home ownership, it's the biggest thing that anybody's or most people are ever going to buy is a home. So that is how people get handed down, wealth and property is through the family home. But we only have a home ownership rate of 38% in Cincinnati, and we can improve that. And we can also put vast amounts of money into affordable housing so that people aren't spending 50% and more of their income on their housing, and that'll help them to get out of poverty. So neighborhoods, we talked about safe neighborhoods. I and my organization, Neighborhoods United, wrote the 46-page plan to reduce and end gun violence in Cincinnati. And among the basic things that we came up with, the community, 200 people over a year and a half time, came up with, is that gun violence, is largely economic. So if we're very serious about solving gun violence, we'll have to be very serious about ending poverty in the city. And then the last thing is equality, which is equality for all people. We need an inclusive city, that all developments and everywhere in the city are inclusive and never exclusive. So nothing about us, without us. So, that includes racial justice. That includes justice for all people.
So let's talk about the homicides. I know that's work that you've been doing. Let's talk about the homicides. So as a member of city council, do you have specific ideas or strategies that you would like to propose or support that would directly impact the homicide rate in the city of Cincinnati? If so, give us some details.
Absolutely. So gun violence really, like I said, is economic. So the solution is really investing in people's lives. It's investing in communities that have been deprived of economic, prosperity, like that the city has been investing in over the Rhine. They put in $1 billion to turn over the Rhine from black to white, from poor to rich. That's city funding. That's cash money. So we could imagine what we could do if we wanted to end gun violence and end poverty in our city, with the $210 million that went to the stadium, with the $1 billion that went to over the Rhine, with the millions and millions that have gone to the streetcar. We can turn this ship around. But right now, all Black communities are under attack, all of them. If you look at Madisonville, Avondale had 20,000 people in it in the year 2000. It has around 10,000 people in it right now. This is due to city policies. If you look through Avondale, you've got street after street with few houses on it. Hickman has one house on it, as an example. Other streets, many, you saw the front page story the other day. I think 500 buildings were torn down in Avondale. These are city policies that we can change. But these city policies, in other words, they, as an example, they defunded CCY. So I grew up, we had CCY. I grew up in Bond Hill. CCY was on California Avenue right next to my school. They defunded it in 2006 because they said they were throwing their money away because they didn't value the kids' lives who went to CCY. My best friend ran the West End and the over the Rhine locations. There were 9 satellite locations throughout our city. It was part of our city structure. Our city cared so much about kids in those days that, for the past 40 years, one of my mentors was Willie C. Jackson, who ran the Bond Hill CCY. But back in those days, we made a division within our city for kids, for Citizens Committee on Youth, but they defunded that. And so now we see a rise in teen violence, in teens being shot and killed, and teens shooting people, because we have defunded supports for our kids, for our youth. And that is what we have to fund. We have to fund youth. We also have to fund people's lives in general that are in our communities. When there's development, we actually should hire the people from the community to do the development, and the development should be affordable for them to live in. This is actually how you end gun violence. Gun violence, it's not just one thing, but this would drastically reduce gun violence.
Yeah, I've heard you talk a lot about the Black community. It seems like you have your eyes on the particular circumstances of Black Cincinnatians. The Women's Fund did a study in which they found that 26% of Black women have an annual earning below 100% of the federal poverty level here in Cincinnati. They also found that Black women are predominantly in jobs that do not pay a living wage. Nearly half of employed Black women make less than $15 an hour compared to 27%. Now, earlier you talked about the home ownership rate, generally speaking, but for Black Cincinnatians, it's even lower. This question is intended to get at how you look at the problem. Do you think it's possible to address the particular and unique situation that Black Cincinnati is in without a Black agenda? And do you have a Black agenda? And if so, is it on your website? Is it something that we can read?
Well, as you may know, Nathan, I get accused, of being a traitor to my race. People have said that, because most of what I have championed over my time has been for Black people, just because that's who I hang around with. That's where I live. That's what I do. But as an example, yes, of course, Nathan, my whole agenda is the Black agenda. So when the stadium moved into the West End, it just really, I fought it, for a year before it ever got placed there. We defeated it at the West End Community Council. when I was a voting member, and it was defeated incredibly. So the vote was like 80-30 or something like that. But anyway, they went ahead and placed the stadium there anyway. But even after that, I never stopped. So I partnered with Monica Williams of Just Cookin', which is now located in Bond Hill on California and Paddock. They gave Monica a very small amount of money and told her to go on her way. Well, anytime there's injustice, it just bothers me down in my soul. So I took up Monica's cause, and for a year and a half, we fought City Hall, the port, and the team. When we got done, there was a day when they told Monica, they had offered her at that point $50,000. She said, they told her, they said, look, if you go to Brian's press conference, because we were trying to postpone the changing of a zoning so that the stadium couldn't rezone until they made Monica whole financially. So we had a press conference, and they told Monica, if you go to Brian's press conference, you'll get nothing. We'll give you nothing. So she said, screw your 50,000. I'm going to the press conference. The press conference was called Postpone the Vote. We got council to postpone the vote. And when they postponed the vote, the construction halted on the stadium. They were not allowed on their own property. They couldn't do anything. So as I walked into City Hall, I got a text from the other side. They said, Brian, you just cost Monica $50,000. I said, well, we'll see. So by the end of the day, they came back to the table because they couldn't even, because we had the support of City Council, 5 members. And so they couldn't step foot on their own property. So in the end of the day, the settlement was negotiated. It was one of the largest, business, small business settlements. And Monica is now in business. But before that year and a half, when they put Monica out of business because of the stadium, she had to take a 3rd shift job at Kroger's. She was making minimum wage. She was very depressed. It was very harmful to her and her 15 to 20 employees. Now she's doing very well. She's one of the most successful businesses. It's a story that ends well, but it's bittersweet because she grew up in the West End, was married in the West End, had a business in the West End. But when we were, settling, we couldn't even find a place in the West End that could be affordable for her to have her business. And she had to move to Bond Hill, which is, great for Bond Hill. So it's bittersweet. One other thing, when the 99-year-old woman, Mary Frances Page, Ken Rhodes, who walked with a walker, Crystal Lane, who has 5 children, when all these different people were being displaced from the West End, again, I stood up for them just because down deep in my soul, I just hate injustice. So in the end, I personally negotiated their settlement. I was across the aisle from those who were lobbying for the billionaire Republican Linder family who owns the stadium and owns the soccer team. And I personally negotiated the largest per capita residential displacement settlement in the history of our city for those people. And, I'm very proud of that. It really sucks that they had to be kicked out of their houses, but, there was at least a financial settlement as part of the deal. I personally helped box their items and personally helped them move into their new places. And I personally found them new affordable housing. I arranged all of that. I didn't stop just when the settlement occurred. I don't get paid for what I do. I don't get paid anything for my social justice work. I make my money by doing construction work. I work with these hands, and that's what I do.
So just to clarify, so if you were on council, would you have voted for the stadium deal? And that was many years ago. Looking at how things are working right now, do you think that the FC Cincinnati Stadium is going to be good for the West End and good for Cincinnati into the future?
I'm not saying it's not good for Cincinnati, but I will say it's not good for the West End. It's set a precedence now. All these tenants that I'm referring to, they lived on the corner of Wade and Central. You know that there is no Wade and Central anymore. There is not even a corner of Wade and Central. It doesn't exist. All the buildings there were torn down. The Flamingo Hair Salon was torn down that was on Bauer Street. So many of the buildings are gone. So much of the history is gone. The Revelation Baptist Church is gone. These are places that I attended. And and it breaks my heart to see what happened there. My mentor was Reverend Morris McCracken. He helped desegregate Coney Island along with Marion Spencer, and CCM back in those days was segregated. That was the first picket sign he ever picked up when he was, I think it was in 1945 when they were trying to desegregate CCM. But at any rate, he started something called the West End Community Land Co-op, which still exists. It's very small now, but it's a land co-op where you own the land, collectively, the nonprofit, the person owns the house, but the nonprofit has the right of first refusal. So if the person wants to sell their house, they have to sell it back first, offer it to the land co-op so that the land and the houses can forever stay affordable. That was started in the West End. Those houses that are now torn down were originally, at one time, they were owned by the West End Community Land Co-op. So, what I'm saying is that I'm just very heartbroken about people losing their homes, about the effect that the stadium is having around it, because they say not only they're calling it, they want it to be a destination neighborhood. And I don't know, probably not now, but at one time, right across the street there from Central, they were trying to put a Starbucks. I mean, I don't know if it's still happening, but when you start getting Starbucks and breweries and all that type of stuff in the community, you know what's happening to the community, that basically there's a white invasion and that the community is about to be taken over as they're attempting to do in Evanston.
Are you aware of the collaborative refresh recommendations? And then also, it looks like the new council is going to have to decide on the new police chief. What are some of the characteristics, experiences that you will be looking for in a new police chief?
Sure. I mean, yes, I was involved with the original collaborative agreement. I was the media relations for the Coalition for a Just Cincinnati, which we were the ones who first started getting people to cancel coming to Cincinnati, in terms of like Bill Cosby, Whoopi Goldberg, Wynton Marsalis, a lot of national acts that were going to come here that didn't, because they honored the boycott. It was our group that got them to cancel. I personally got people to cancel. I was asked at one time, Ken Lawson the collaborative agreement, it was not popular at all back in those days. I mean, it's a feather in the Cincinnati hat now, but at that time, I mean, the police kept trying to pull out of the collaborative agreement. Most politicians, or many of them, were not favorable toward the collaborative agreement. And they were this story I'm about to tell is that they were trying to kick their own lawyer, Ken Lawson, off of the collaborative agreement. And Ken called me and said, Brian, they're trying to fire me off the collaborative agreement. Can you come down and raise some hell? This was in, I think, 2003, maybe 2002, somewhere in that vicinity. But at any rate, so I came down, I raised some hell. I literally got kicked out of city council. At that time, I had my fist in the air and we were chanting, the whole crowd. I had my 2 minutes at the podium, and that's what I decided to do with it. Anyway, they kicked me out escorted me out by the police. And but while I had my fist in the air, the City Beat reporter took a picture and put it on the front page of City Beat. That was during the time when I was trying to save Ken Lawson from being kicked out of the collaborative agreement. I'm very much in favor of the collaborative agreement refresh. Obviously documents need to be updated as time goes on. And what I would look at for a police chief, I would look at someone who is like Chief Blackwell. I really liked him. He liked me. He was so supportive of the community. He was at so many of these protests where, people suffered from police brutality and other, Black issues where there were rallies. The police chief would actually show up, and he was supportive and he was well loved. Sadly, he was terminated as the police chief, but I believe he was a good police chief, and I would like to see someone like him to be a police chief for Cincinnati.
Yeah, I just got a message here. Somebody says, just to correct you, they say that Ken was a CBUF lawyer, that you were wrong in that.
Okay. He was the CBUF lawyer,
Yeah.
so I guess it was Al Gerhardstein. I was the actual lawyer. Ken was being that's what Ken said to me. Ken
Right.
said that he was being fired, and could I come down and raise hell? So
I'm getting another question here. Another statement says they want to know, did you work directly with CBUF? Did you work directly with Iris Rowley?
I mean, we had two different organizations. There was CBUF, and there was the Coalition for a Just Cincinnati, which was led by Reverend J.W. Jones. And then later it was led by Bishop Stephen Scott. So I was a part of that organization with Coalition for Just Cincinnati.
Okay, so two more questions, and then I've got my next guest lined up. Ashley wants to know, what neighborhood do you live in? And then with the last few minutes, just tell us, just make your direct appeal to the choppers as to why they should vote for you.
Appreciate that. So I live on Wolper, which if you continue on Forest Avenue down by Richie's Chicken by the zoo, and you go up the hill, that's where I live, about 10 houses from Richie's. So I'm sorry, what was the second part of the question?
Well, it just make a direct appeal to the voters, to the choppers, as to why they should vote for you for city council.
Yeah, so Cincinnati's going in a certain direction, and you can look at all of our Black neighborhoods and what's been happening. They're under attack. We have to turn this ship around. I mean, play the tape through. What will Black Cincinnati look like in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years, in 30 years, in 40 or 50 years? What is it going to look like if we stay on the same track that we're on? You see house after house coming down. You see gentrification and more gentrification. You see Avondale being half the size that it used to be. You see Madisonville, which was a Black neighborhood all of my life, which is now only 39% Black. This is all due to city policies, bad city policies that we need to get rid of. We need to stop gentrification, and we need to put all of our efforts, very focused and intentional, into Black-owned businesses, into housing for what is now being called legacy residents, people not being kicked out of their homes, but staying in their communities. That is why you should vote for me, because someone is going to be elected in 40 days. And do we want people who are actually going to stand up for the community, or do we want, very possibly, what could happen is a Republican takeover? If that happens, you will see a very different Cincinnati than you currently see. You will not see a push for inclusion. You will not see a push for equity and fairness and fair development. We've already seen what happened in Over the Rhine. That will spread more and more, as it already has, throughout our communities, including onto the West Side. So if we want to stop gentrification, if we want to end poverty, end racism, increase affordable housing, and decrease gun violence, I'm the person to do it.
All right. Thank you so much. Again, Brian, there's only so much we can do in 35 minutes. We didn't talk about a lot of issues like corruption and other things. Perhaps we can catch up in maybe about, I don't know, another month or so, the next few weeks, and I can ask you some of those questions, or perhaps we can link up again at the next NAACP forum. So thank you for your time this morning.
Yes, that would be awesome.
All right. Have a great morning. Thank you for your time.
You as well. Thank you for your
most staff. That's Brian Garry, everybody. What do you think? What do you think? Again, my style will be about 30 minutes, 35-ish. I'll try to get all the candidates in between now and hopefully the end of October. That's my plan. We'll probably do 2 or 3 a day, but it's election time. It's political season. I want to make sure that we hear, that the choppers on the Nathan Ivey show, that we get a chance to talk with these folks. I asked him about the NAACP appearance. I think he answered everything. Let me get your thoughts. Now, I want to welcome in my next guest. I've never spoken with her before. I just read an article or piece from WVXU. She's a journalist with WVXU. I hope I don't mangle her name, but I believe it's Joelene Almedarez, and she's backstage. Let's bring her on. Hey, Joelene, how are you?
Hey, good morning. I'm doing great.
Hold
Thank you so much for having me on. I know when you messaged me, it was good to hear from you.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I know we've never met or talked before, but I read the piece that you wrote, and I thought it was really interesting. Like a lot of us are paying attention to gentrification and displacement in the city, and you wrote a piece that was published back on September 10th, how an affordable apartment complex ended up displacing people in 28 units. And I'm thinking that seems counterintuitive. So I'm curious, Joelene, how did that happen? But first, are you from the city? Just tell us a little bit about your background.
Sure. So I'm not from the city. I am newer. I came end of October. I'm actually from San Antonio, Texas. Before that, I lived up in Ithaca, New York. And I actually ended up here because, my friend's wife ended up moving here, and then he ended up coming over here. They got married over here. And then his sister came here, and everyone was telling me this is just a really great place to live. And I was looking for work, and I said, okay. So applied for a few jobs, and I ended up here. I've been having a good time. I really like it.
Okay. You like it, huh? Okay.
I like it a lot. Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun. My friend was saying he's looking for a new place to live. And I said, because he's going to have a job now. It's like national. He can live anywhere. And I was like, you should come to Cincinnati. It's a great place.
For a lot of people said it about Cincinnati, and I keep telling folks, see, I think when you live in the city, you sometimes you can tend to focus on the negative and you get jaded. But a lot of people I've known from out of Cincinnati, they come here and they absolutely love it. So that's a great thing to hear. So when you moved here, was it for the WVXU job? And what kind of stories do you cover for WVXU?
Yeah, I did move here for the WVXU job, which was really fortunate because I'd already planned. I said, look, I want to move here. Even if I don't get the job, I still want to move here. So I was really, really glad I got the job. And so I do general assignments. I'm pretty lucky, though. They let me focus on basically issues that I hear about from people or issues that I think are underreported. I get to work on a lot of feature style stories. So yeah, basically anything. I'm always taking news tips. If anyone ever wants to say, hey, something's going on, I'm on it. I really love hearing from people and getting tips and stuff.
Okay. So this piece is titled How an Affordable Apartment Complex Ended Up Displacing People in 28 Units. I'm curious, tell us the backstory. How did this happen? What's going on?
Oh gosh. Yeah. So it seems, so when I got here in November, I ended up writing a story. I was covering City Hall at the time. And I remember when this passed, when the city gave them tax breaks and it being really just heralded as this like great thing. I'm just going to pull it up so I can see it. There are over 200 affordable housing units that were going to be kept at 60% AMI, and that's average median income. And so people who just really are struggling, are not making very much money, we're going to be able to afford to live here and stay in the West End, even though the stadium just got built. And just for a little perspective, 60% AMI, I know that kind of AMI gets thrown around a lot, right? So it's $35,868,000 for a single person. If you make that much money or less, you are 60% AMI and you could stay in this building and live here. But what happened was a lot of people have just lived here for decades, just a really, really long time. And if you make $5 over that amount, I said, if you make $100 over that amount, I said, you just don't qualify to live there anymore. Now that amount changes if you're like a family of 4 or a family of 3. There's like a chart available where you can like see the AMI. But basically people who lived there a really long time made a little too much money to be living there and were essentially kicked out. But here's where it gets really complicated is when this organization, it's called Virgin Held, they own the property. They bought it a few years ago, maybe like 2-3 years ago. And when they bought it, they said, oh, it's not going to be 60% AMI. It's going to be 80% AMI, which is at $47,850 for a single person. So they said, nobody's going to get kicked out. Don't worry, we're going to get funding for this project not to build new units, but to really redo some of the units that were already there. I was told that some of the units didn't even really have proper kitchens, there are problems with the roof, and that it just really needed to be redone. And so people were saying like, okay, well, if nobody's going to get kicked out, it's just going to be affordable going into the future. Okay, like people supported it. And then the 60% AMI bomb dropped, and yeah, people are being displaced. People aren't going to be able to live there anymore. And, you know, I talked to, now they are getting some things. For instance, the company is going to pay for their moving costs, for their down payment. They're going to pay the price differential for up to 3 years. So say you were paying $600 for rent now, and now you're paying $900. They'll pay that extra $300 for a certain amount of time. I believe it's roughly 3 years. Yeah, so the company said, hey, we're doing the best we can. But if you're someone, I talked to someone who is working 2 jobs and paying a little over $600 to live in this unit. And he says, yeah, that's great. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad they're doing something, but I don't know what I'm going to do when that money comes out. I'm already working 2 jobs. This man he's in his 60s, and he's like, what do I do after those benefits run out?
So what's the moral of the story? It sounds like the first some Virgin held are, I mean, somebody even say going beyond to accommodate people who are being displaced. And what's the role of the city? Does the city have any tenets in terms of like rules that would govern this type of thing? Is there any help that people can get from the city, or is this just a story of the further development of downtown?
Yeah, this is kind of a story of the further development of downtown. Now, I do want to say that the city did offer them some incentives for doing affordable housing, and that's just the way that goes. I end up, so I've covered housing in a few different cities now. That's the way development goes. You say, I'm going to build this many affordable housing units. Can I get a tax break for this amount of time if I keep it affordable for a certain amount of time? And that's just the way development works in any city. You know, I'm not really here to say like, oh, this is good or this is bad or anything like that. That's just how it is. And so, yeah, it is a story about how people are how the city is being developed, but it's also a story about the missing middle. It is a story, the missing middle just refers to housing for middle-class Americans. You know, you're not rich, but you're making $100 too much at your job right now to be considered, you know, under 60% AMI for affordable housing. You know, it's about finding housing or not finding housing in this case for people who just are barely getting by, who are working, who are trying to make things come together. And that is a huge story. And whether the city has or hasn't been doing anything, I mean, I would recommend, I don't know if you know, do you know Nick Swartzel? He used to work over at City Beat, but now he's over at WVXU with us.
Yeah.
He's an incredible writer about housing. He's been in the community long time. I'm not sure if he's from here, so I'm sorry about that. But he wrote this really interesting article called "What Does Affordable Housing Mean in Cincinnati?" He wrote that this spring, and I was looking at it to prepare for this interview, and he really breaks it down, like how do you get affordable housing? How is it funded? Who qualifies? What can be done for it? Is it truly affordable for people? And it's a really interesting story. So if you want to know more about like the actual nuts and bolts and some of these numbers, I would definitely recommend reading that one.
Yeah, I'm going to reach out to Nick today, actually.
Yeah.
That's an interesting phrase, though, the missing middle. The missing middle. And you're right. I mean, we tend to focus on the people at the bottom and then at the top, but you're right. There's people there in the middle that are just completely being forgotten. And to your knowledge, is the city doing anything to address the missing middle?
So the city, that's an interesting question. The city has a lot of ideas for how to afford affordable housing, how to keep housing prices low, but whether you think they're doing a good job or not, it'll really vary on what individual element they're looking at. I mean, we all know there was the vote earlier this year to see if they were going to set money aside for affordable housing specifically. That didn't go forward. I think was it issue 3? And so that obviously that didn't go forward, but there are always different incentives and different programs. I mean, probably all the time in city council that really address housing issues. But historically, nationally, sort of the missing middle is becoming a conversation, I think, in what I'm reading and seeing just more and more as like the gap between like the richest and poorest people in the country just continues to get wider.
Well, Joelene, great reporting, and thank you for your time this morning. I really appreciate it. If people want to connect with you and or read some of your work, where do they find you?
Yeah, I'm at WVXU.org. We have Becca Costello covers City Hall. So she does an incredible job breaking down really complex ideas into something we can understand, because it gets complex for me too. And then yeah, we have Nick Swartzel. He works with Cincinnati Edition at noon. And so he has a lot of good work at WVXU.org too. Plus, you got to listen to the program. You can find me on Twitter, Joelene Almedarez57. You can find me on Facebook, wherever I add anybody to my Facebook. Or like you can like call me. My phone number is 210-550-0087. Like, I don't care if everybody has my phone number. You can absolutely reach out to me.
All right. Well, Joelene, now that we've met, let's stay connected. I go live every single day. I'm based in the city. My audience is primarily African-American, Black folks, but we talk about all the issues and how it impacts everybody. But in particular, some of the issues we talk about today. So let's stay connected.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd really, really love that. If you ever have anything going on, let me know. I'm happy to talk, happy to like take questions or anything like that. So thank you very much. All
right. Take it easy. That's Joelene Almedarez with WVXU. The missing middle. That's a very interesting concept that I think that we should keep in mind as we move forward. And you can expect more from me. I want to go deeper into what we're doing here locally and talk with the people who are actually making the news and breaking the news on a daily basis. So when you plug into the show, you get more than just my superlative flows. They are superlative, but I don't have all the information. I don't have all the. Crystal says, no, I wouldn't have done that, because not only can you can get people that pick up your number and do spam calls. I've gotten some of that on that 873 number, but I appreciate her time this morning. I thought it was quite interesting. So I want to keep my eyes on what is happening in the city, and I'm putting even more of a focus on that, so that when you tune into the Nathan Ivy Show or whatever we're doing, you get something out of it. Again, more beyond more than just my flows, which are considerable. They are considerable, I know. But what do you think? So we have Brian Garry on, and then we talk with Joelene. Feel free to comment on whatever you feel like you want to comment on. I throw the number up for you again, 513-873-7134. If you want to share your thoughts. Again, open your mind before you open your mouth. That's it. Other than that, we can always agree to disagree. We can even get, we can get heated. I'm cool with that as long as we stay respectful. I'm never here to disrespect anybody, and I won't tolerate it myself either. But we can always agree to disagree, and you might have something to bring to the table that we just don't have here. We just don't have it. So hopefully you can get something out of it. Good morning. Yeah, people saying great things. Great. So it's election time. I want to talk to everybody, and there's some people that I don't want to talk to, quite honestly. And I'm just not going to give them the benefit of being on the platform. I'm not going to say no names. But I want to talk to all the candidates for all the races. I want to talk to everybody. I don't care if you got an endorsement. I don't care if you got a big name. I don't care if you got a little name. It makes no difference to me. I want to hear what you have to say, because if your name's going to be in that ballot, then we have an opportunity. So let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, talk show host. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, caller. Welcome to the show.
Yes, this is Hacksaw Jim Thuggin. I don't understand why you attacked me on the show earlier, talking about some leave people alone on Facebook.
That wasn't an attack.
I didn't do nothing to nobody.
That wasn't an attack. I was just giving you advice, brother.
I didn't do anything to anybody.
You were in that high school sports Facebook group, and you was going back and forth to this brother that stepped up and said he was an assistant coach. You started attacking that.
Yeah.
Man.
You only like that comment from him because, for once, you were looking at the story from a newsman. I'm trying to get an interview from a newsman angle. But in reality, dude said some dumb-ish.
What did he say that
he
was
got
dumb?
On there. He identifies himself, for one, I'm a coach at West High. And then two, he said nothing. I'm a coach at West High. And from what I understand, the investigation's still ongoing. Oh, way to identify yourself to say nothing, butt face.
Well, actually, he said a lot. And no matter what he said about
himself,
did
he DM you? That man. Or did he did he DM you a lot? Or did he, on the post, did he say it? Because I haven't seen it on the post.
He put it on the post. So people know. Basically, I'm trying to get an interview with somebody close to West High, parents, students, coaches. It makes no difference. So I put it in there, and he responded like, look, basically he was saying, look, bruh, I was an assistant coach at West High. Here's the inside track. It might be hard to get an interview with the coach. It might be hard to get an interview with the coach because right now they got an investigation going on. That was valuable to me. That tells me something. You jumped at the man's neck.
You damn right I did. He's a big mouth. He's untrusting and he's unloyal. He's disloyal. There was no reason to say anything if you wasn't going to say anything. You just wanted people to know that you coach at West High.
That's your opinion.
That's all he did was say, I coach at West High. The investigation is ongoing.
And if that's all he did,
yourself.
It did not warrant you jumping at that man's neck with your teeth all snarling out and your claws all out. You was wrong.
I've got stake in the story. I've got stake in the story.
You ain't got no stake in the story just because you went to West High. Just because you went to West High don't mean you got stake in the story. So what?
I'm a goddamn alum.
And
don't insult me. Don't insult our high school.
Nobody is insulting your high school. The brother was answering the question to me. It had nothing to do with you, actually.
He did not answer the question. He just showed that he's a big mouth idiot. Because now, if something leaks, I'm blaming his monkey ass. Because you should have never identified yourself.
That's a grown man. He can say on Facebook what he want to say on Facebook. You were wrong. Period.
He could have DM'd Nathan. He could have DM'd you that.
He could have, but he didn't. He chose to put it in the group. He got every right to do it the way he want to do it.
Because he's a blabbering idiot.
I think you was wrong, bro. You owe that man an apology. You call him out his name.
You know I was
monkeys,
right.
blabbering
you know
idiots.
I was right. You know I was right.
No,
he had no business identifying himself. There was no reason to do that if you had nothing to offer.
He did have something to offer to me, not to you. It's my perspective that matters, not yours. He was answering my post, not yours.
He could have DM'd you that. I'm telling him
he didn't have to. He got the information the way he wanted to.
First of all, everybody in Ohio has stake in this story because it's a public school. So therefore, what you're showing us,
but everybody in Ohio didn't call this brother out his name and attack him on Facebook. Only you did. There's a reason why. I didn't call him out his name. I just said you're disloyal and you would never coach on my staff. Nah, you called him some names too. No, that's not true. You called him some names too.
No, I didn't.
Yes,
I said
you did,
disloyal.
Bro. Don't make me pull it up. You called him something like he was a fake Houdini or something like that.
Yes.
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 Fake Houdini.
Yeah. So you called him some names. You was out of order.
How's that name calling? I said you got a big mouth. You fake ass ecstasy from Houdini.
That's not name calling, brother. You tripping, man.
That's not you said it like I called him names like it was incendiary.
You called him out his name. Period. I don't care. It is incendiary.
Okay. Well, I'm disgusted because the more that comes out about that story, the more people post. It shows that the adults are thinking like children.
Well, I mean,
we want our coach back. Want our coach back. You flipping idiot. If you cannot see why this guy got fired, why the hell do you have children? If you can't be a voice of reason. It's clear as day.
Ain't nothing wrong
why
with you
he
being
got
disgusted,
fired.
bro. It's what you do with that disgusted energy, and you did wrong things with it. You need to apologize to that black man and do better next time.
In the immortal word of Grammy Award-winning sissy Lil Nas X, F them kids.
He's not a kid. He's a grown man. And I thought the alt middle was for the kids. You just contradicted yourself, bro.
It is. But when you're being led by idiotic adults, there's very little we can do for you.
Mm-hmm. So you're not really for the kids. Anything else, brother?
This one is. Yeah, I got plenty more.
Okay, go right ahead.
Lil Nas X, I kind of agree with him. I kind of remember doing a speech on Charles Barkley. That I am not a role model thing. I remember doing a speech in class on that, saying he's right. Like, they don't owe you nothing. You know, he's not responsible for what he puts out. You're the consumer. You're responsible for what you consume. You know, I don't even get Lil Nas X's tweets because I blocked him. I don't want to see nothing he's got to say. You being a consumer are responsible for what you consume and allow in your house, in your ears. If you know your house, if you have children. So you go ahead, because you remember that scene from Dreamgirls. Eddie Murphy's character was like, man, music's supposed to be uplifting. It's supposed to touch your soul. It's supposed to blah, blah, blah. Then the Barry 30 character, Jamie Foxx, says, nigga, music's supposed to sell.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's what Lil Nas X is doing. I'm selling records. I don't like the way he's selling them. I don't like his records, and I don't like the way he's selling them. I don't consume him. So if you're consuming him, that's on you. You can't get mad because he ain't making records for kids.
Right.
You're making records about being gay and whatnot and things like that. I'm not mad at that. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, I'm in the drive-thru. But yeah. No. But yeah, I'm not, yeah. So therefore, what Daryl from Atlanta was saying, and I'm going to call him out because he's always got my name in his mouth in the comments. And today is the first time he's ever called and didn't mention me by name or reference me, and I'm about tired of it because you're not witty. You're not funny. You're not smart. You're just a runaway nigger from Georgia, like the movie said. Leave my name out of your mouth, dude. Quit referring to me. I don't want to be friends. I don't want to shake your hand. I don't want to be cordial.
You don't like black men.
I don't like Daryl from Atlanta.
And you don't like the brother on Facebook.
From Georgia.
And it's a whole people. You don't like Brian. There's a whole people. You don't like a lot of black men. It's a problem for
Brian was in here thinking he was waxing poetic and comparing us to Pit Bull. The one dog breed out of 300 that has a perpetual issue of attacking humans. Wolves don't attack humans. There's never been a reported wolf attack in American history on a human because we'd rather not be around you, monk. You understand me? Now, that's all I got, brother. You had some long interviews. Let somebody else get in. But I just wanted to say, quit trying to paint me in an unsavory light. I'm defending the process. Tatum had to go. Reasonable adults understand this and recognize it. He had to go. Those parents at West High, we want our coach. You're thinking like children. You're not being grown-ups and explaining them, like the alt middle does. We blow up the negatives so that you can see the bigger picture. God damn it. If you're a parent at West High, this is the exact time where you need to do that. Blow up the negatives so that your kids can see the bigger picture. Holla. Oh!
You need to apologize to that black man on Facebook. I forget the brother's name. He went all at him, knives all out, got your wolf teeth all showing, got your claws all out. The brother was talking to me, not to you. Got all your feelings involved. You got a problem with black men, and that's what it comes down to. They're right, fame is too easy. They're right, shut up, man. Dude is super thin skinned, but it's I can't say he don't be on point sometime. And sometime he be way off point. But let's go back to the phones. Good morning, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mr. Ivy. This is your West Side Connection, Drop Squad 52, also known as the Black Not Democrat. How you doing on this fabulous Friday, sir?
I'm doing excellent, man. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me on your show. And shout out to Fame Rothstein, the Public Betting Sports Show, and the Alt Middle, because they are for the children. Now, Mr. Ivy, I just got one thing to say.
Yeah, the children of the corn.
It's Friday. It's Friday. Why you gonna mess up my flow? See, you think
I had to throw that in there real quick, bro.
Oh well, at least it wasn't the ding ding, the cool chip.
It only takes a little bit of white brainwash to activate the cool chip.
You can get that too. You can get that too.
Man, now see, Nate, what you got to do, okay? What you got to do after you play that, you got to play the sound of a train. Troot, troot. And the cool train is running full steam ahead. But anyway, it's your show, but it's my call. Headline, Real Clear Politics. And you know that website. Americans souring on Biden and Washington, D.C. Now, Mr. Ivy, the Democrats think they just executed some magnificent election because Gavin Newsom did not get recalled. But a lot of people who aren't in California, they didn't see the ballot. Governor Newsom's name was nowhere on the ballot. And that's why they made it about Trump. They made it about anti-vaxxers. They made it about anti-mask. They made it about QAnon. They made it about everybody and their mama except for the record of the Democrat Party. Now, Mr. Ivey, I don't know if you know what the current polling is on the president, Washington, D.C., Congress. I'm not sure you're aware of it, but I would just like to point out, if you will allow me, sir, that in the latest Economist poll finds that President Biden's current approval rating is at 46%. And the latest Quinnipiac poll that came out on Tuesday is even more ominous.
Yeah, but why aren't you talking about the polls that came out on Thursday? Those are the latest polls.
Yeah, but Mr. Ivey, you know, Real Clear Politics is a average of all polls, sir.
Yeah, but why would you go back to Tuesday and Wednesday? I'm on the website. The latest polls came out on Thursday. Read those. Would that make more sense?
Yeah, because polls are used as tools to drive media narrative. They're used as tools to fundraise. So polls are strategically placed out on certain days.
But you telling me
sure
it
you're
makes
aware of
sense
that,
for you
right?
to call me on Friday and talk about polls that came out on Tuesday and Wednesday, and not the poll that came out yesterday. Right. That makes sense.
No, yes, because the polls on Tuesdays and Wednesdays are the ones that the so-called lamestream media avoid, because they'd rather talk about a poll on Friday, Mr. Ivey. Okay, whatever you say.
Just
but
say Nate,
either way,
right. It don't make sense. And just do the ones on Thursday, because I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. But go right ahead, it's your call, brother. Let me let you finish your flows.
Mr. Ivey, I love interacting with you. Okay, but you know, sometimes I don't seek it. I don't seek to engage with you like my brother Fane Rothstein. That's what you and him do. But I come on here to drop some science.
I'm dropping some
sometimes
science.
You just want to get all in the middle of my experiment.
I'm just trying to help you, brother.
But it's a method to my madness, and you know it, and that's why you do what you do, which is why I mess with you.
I was just curious as to why you would. Today is Friday. You're reciting polls from Tuesday and Wednesday, and a whole round of polling came out yesterday. It didn't make sense to me, bro. That's all.
Okay, because Mr. Ivey, the polls that came out yesterday won't be included in the overall average. That's what I'm telling you.
What?
It's the. Okay, never mind.
Yeah,
never mind. But again, send everybody to Real Clear Politics. And I am the one who got everybody to go start looking at that instead of just these individual polls that are used to manipulate the minds of the people. Okay? So as I was saying, in the latest Quinnipiac poll, Joe Biden is at 42%, Mr. Ivey. That is worse than Trump. Start talking about Trump now. And even worse, Mr. Ivey, independents. You know the independents. It is even worse. And I'm not even going to say those numbers because it's even worse. Okay, so when you break it all down, Mr. Ivey, there's no good news for the Democrats. And even when I called out Glenn and Donita, shout out to Donita. I love strong black women. And yes, Donita, we will have to work something out, and I will extend an invitation for me and you to chop it up on the Black Not Democrat podcast, and you'll be able to pick the topic. But that will come at a later date. But Mr. Ivey, I don't see anybody, and I'm not including you in this because you've never done that. I don't see anybody coming on your show talking about the positive direction of the country under the leadership of our president, Joseph R. Biden. I don't see that. I don't hear the excitement. It was almost like they needed the California recall as like a booster shot to get them through the rest of the year, because they can see that things are just a freaking mess, Mr. Ivey. What is going on with the coronavirus, the war on the coronavirus? At this point, Joe Biden, the commanding general, is losing. And the last thing before I go, the huge elephant in the room, Mr. Ivey, is America's southern border. Do you know what's going on in Del Rio, Texas, Mr. Ivy?
No, what's going on?
Over 8,000. It's all over. All you got to do is just type in Del Rio, Texas International Bridge. The bridge, Mr. Ivy, the International Bridge, there are over 8,000 human beings under that bridge waiting to seek asylum in the United States. And most of them are not from the Central America countries. It's a whole lot of black people under that bridge, Mr. Ivy, over 8,000 people. And the Border Patrol, the Customs and Border Protection, they are overwhelmed. And Kamala Harris, who's supposed to be in charge of this, nowhere to be found. Joe Biden barely even mentions the southern border. But he's flying in Afghan refugees all over the country. How can they avoid talking about what's happening at the border, Mr. Ivy? Over a million people. Those are just the ones that the Border Patrol have engaged. The estimated numbers is at least 1 million that have gotten through undetected. Where are these people, Mr. Ivy? Are they in Ohio? Have you seen any of them? Do you know if they've been tested? So again, Mr. Ivy, maybe in the ninth month, President Biden and his staff and his cabinet, even with that shaky-ass general, Mark Milley, backstabbing mofo, need to be fired, need to resign, or need to be court-martialed. I don't know what they're going to do, Mr. Ivy, but thank God we got the Cincinnati Bengals football team, so the people of Cincinnati can escape. And the people across America can escape and go watch some NFL and some NCAA football. Now take a knee for that. Drop Squad 52. It's Friday. I ain't got no job, but I'm dropping science to anyone who wants to fact check it. Peace.
We leveling up. We'll go ahead and rack them. Good call. I like his calls, man. I mean, it adds something different to the overall flow of the show. It really does. Listen, folks, I want you to have a tremendous Friday and weekend. I'm not sure what your plans are. Just go make some plans. I don't know about you, but I get up every day and I ask myself, what do I want to do? Then I go do it. So go out there and have some fun. You know, enjoy the sun and the weather while you can, because the season is upon us. It's changing. All right. I know you're about sick of these damn insects like I am. It's been a hell of a summer. It really has, man. We don't even talk about cicadas no more. I miss the cicadas, honestly. I kind of miss the cicadas. One more call before we roll out of here. Let's see what it is. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Danita.
This is Danita, ready to drop some truth on anyone who is ready to catch it. So let's talk about what my friend Drop just talked about. Let's talk about approval ratings. So I think everyone will agree that this country, after Donald Trump, is divided on almost everything. So Nate, if we 100% is the whole of the country, help me with this math. If we are divided, that would be 50-50. Am I right with my math?
So far, yeah.
Okay. So if President Biden has an approval rating of 46%, tell me what's wrong with that. Because half the country ain't going to approve of him anyway. Am I right or wrong, Nate?
I follow the logic.
Okay. So Donald Trump's approval rating was, for the majority of his presidency, 38%. Fact, 38%. It did not vary a whole lot because that 38% was his base. So now Trump wants us to believe that the Democrats should be in such an uproar because a divided country, 46% has an approval rating for Joe Biden, and the former president had 38%. So Democrats should be upset because what? Can you figure that out for me, Nate?
I cannot.
Cannot, because it doesn't make sense. You can come on and spout all of these ridiculous numbers that you want, Drop, but there is such a thing called critical thinking. And critical thinking tells you that an approval rating of 46% is not a bad thing. An approval rating of 46% when this is only his 9th month in the presidency. No, we are not going to panic. And if you look historically, presidents' approval ratings, why do Republicans' approval ratings boost? Because they like to go to war, because people want to kill people. That's when Republican approval ratings go through the roof, when we go to war. So we don't want that. So no, we're not panicking. What we're saying, Drop, is that this president is going to turn this country around from the mess that was created by the last guy. And it took him 4 years to tear it down. We're not going to fix it in 9 months. Critical thinking, Drop. And I absolutely look forward to going on the Black Not Democrat podcast. But I'm going to throw out the gauntlet. I don't think he's going to do it, Nate. You think he really going to do it?
You know what? I ain't sure. I wouldn't be surprised if he runs from you.
I think he is. So if he always want to call people out, like my friend Glenn, I'm calling you out, Drop. Let's set the date right now. And really what I think is it should be hosted where people can see it, Nate. So whether that's on your show, on his show, whoever, I think all the choppers should be invited to come and see this.
I'm down.
I look forward to being on his podcast. I'm throwing out the challenge right now. I'm dropping the gauntlet. I'm calling you out, Drop. I don't think you have the heart to do it. I don't think you have the heart to have me on your show.
What's the show?
Date? September 17th, 2021. I'm calling him out. Write it down. Let's see how long it takes.
When I get off the show today, Danita, I'm going to reach out to Drop and try to set it up so we can live stream it.
Let's do it. And but now it's not going to be able to be in the day because I'm at school is in, I'm at work unless it's a day when the kids don't have school. But other than that, I'm there. So September 16th, 2021. Let's write it down. Signing off. Choppers, have a great weekend. This is Danita dropping truth to anyone that's willing to catch it.
I'm down for that. We'll go ahead and rack them. We leveling up with these calls today. Matter of fact, another one for all the guests and all the text messages and everything. I appreciate it. We leveling up. Good morning to you. Yeah, as soon as I get off the air, I'm going to call Drop and set it up. And we'll see if he's down with it. Because let's not just talk about it. Let's be about it. For fans of the Is It Just Me podcast with Donnie B, she recorded a message. She is a busy woman. And she is a lawyer. She has her own practice and she's got to step away from the podcast. And so what's happening was she would do it and then step away for a week, if not 2 weeks, and do it. She's trying to be there for the audience. And then eventually just made the decision to just step away and pick back up in October. But she recorded a message and I want to play it for you. Check.
Hey, what's up, fam? It's your girl, Donnie B. Is It Just Me podcast. I just want to take a couple of minutes to come on here to let you guys know that I'm going to take a brief sabbatical or leave of absence for the rest of the month of September, so I can catch up on some work I gotta do, and I'll be back in October. So I love you guys. I miss you guys. Be safe, and I will see you next month. Peace.
Real quick. Matter of fact, that's circling right now. If you want to connect with her, she has a podcast group called the Is It Just Me podcast group with Donnie B. You can knock on the door and she will answer and invite you in. But she'll be back next month. Over the weekend, you got Straight Talk Live with Edna Howe Parrish. You got the lovely ladies, Britt and Cass from Melanin Insights, and more podcasts and live stream shows to come. We are just getting started. But I want to sign off at this point. If you want to send me a message, if you want to connect with me, I'm very accessible. If you like the way that this stream looks with the overlays and the way we bring in guests and things, I'm using something called Restream. And if you send me a direct message, if you're interested, then I'll send you a link where you can get some money off if you want to try it out. So it's a win-win for the both of us. Just hit me with a direct message. If you got ideas for guests, hit me up. If you see this as a valuable space where maybe you want to place an ad for your business, if you are a candidate and you're interested in doing so, hit me with a direct message. I'm highly accessible and I will respond to you. And I'll leave you with our motto. Winners focus on winning and losers focus on winners. So stay focused and stay winning, and we'll talk real soon. Until next time, I'm Nathan Ivy, and I'm out.